Nothing really. That's disappointing.
Not that I'm
gonna buy Legos again because like this was so fun.
No one told me this was a race.
It's not a race.
No. Oh yeah. Now, yeah.
You were really intently looking at it.
I dropped the piece and I can't find it.
It got interesting. Being interviewed and trying to do Lego at the same time, harder than it seems.
Having the problem with this one here.
But I hadn't built Legos since I was a youngin', and I don't know exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah. Okay. No big deal.
Great guess the beginning was kind of like as we all were at the beginning, how should we act and stuff like that. Now we just one guy to be around.
I'm actually enjoying a little bit of wine while we do this because it felt inappropriate to not have libations.
I had a great freaking time. I chose a Lego set that's like, don't do the flowers, guys. Don't do the flowers.
Obviously, I'm the problem because I keep making the same bad decisions.
Hey, look, I got sex toys. Look, it's dildo. Yeah.
Whoa, this is not that type of stream.
And go. Ready? Go. No.
I forgot about Max.
I forgot Max. I forgot to put Max in there too. That's Max Murat, everybody.
He's amazing.
Andrea, welcome to Lego Law Life and Libation. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me.
I'm so glad you're here.
Yes, we're both very excited. And Wendy H is extremely disappointed, although she'll find out about it when she wakes up, that she's missing this. She's not feeling well. She texted us earlier saying she wasn't feeling well. She wasn't sure she was going to make it, and then just like ghosted us. So I'm assuming she's sleeping. She had a rough night with a date, is what I imagine happened. Hey, Farrell.
Hey, Farrell, how you doing?
Farrell is alive. Welcome. So I'm in charge of chat today, so that's going to be fun. But yeah, so Andrea, now without Karen Reed, what have you been up to?
I've been having a summer. I've kind of been, so I recently discovered paddleboarding. My friend and I, my friend Heidi, she's my dear friend. She's the one who made my fish. I box with her. Like I've known her for years. She's like my soul sister. Anyway, she talked me into getting a paddleboard. And so it got a little addictive, and I've been going out like every few days. And
what's amazing is you stand up on it and you think you're going to be, it's like all arms and legs, but it's all your core and your abs.
Yeah.
That's the thing that was sore for me when I was doing it.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
I got the 6-pack.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of snowboarding because you got to kind of get the glide. You know, if you just try to like muscle at it, it doesn't even really work. So it's a lot of core, and you just gotta glide. But it's a blast. We went out on Tuesday, and we had planned to go up to the mountains and go to this like just lake up there that there's some islands and stuff like that. We camped up there before, but we get all the way up there and there's wildfires, so the road's closed. So we ended up having to come back down, but we just sort of random happenstance decided, well, this river that kind of comes down into town here, you can drop in at this bridge right here. We're just going to drop in. Absolutely no idea how far it is or like really how long it's going to take. Just kind of figured we're close enough to home that worst comes to work, we'll make a phone call and get picked up. But we did make it, and it was 21 miles. So it was
wow. Nice.
It was quite a day.
Wow. 21 miles is a long haul.
By the way,
it was
so
fun.
Andrea, what are you building today? This is
I am
Did you start already?
I did start. I got over enthusiastic, and so I got Himeji Castle. You guys told me like 400 to 600 pieces. I think this one is like 1,400 or something. I don't know. It was a lot. So I did already get it started.
We might have a longest stream ever coming up. So Joe went like. Joe Logic, Good Logic went. What did he go? 6-7 hours?
It was like
6 hours.
Oh my gosh!
And then Torrent built your build, and we went 14 hours.
We did 2 streams.
Yeah.
Because it took a while, but I think his was like 15 hours total. It was something crazy like that.
Yeah, I could see it being that long. So I've got like 6 bags left. I'm mostly putting the roof on at this point. So I, not trying to cheat or anything, but I didn't want to.
You do cheat, not like me. I've never cheated once.
David, how dare you? We all know that's a fabrication.
Mind you, I am starting with a brand new build up against 2 people that are already halfway done or more with their builds. So
I'm less than halfway done.
Less than halfway.
I'm still on the first book.
By the way, this is what I'm doing.
I am building the Hogwarts castle from Harry Potter.
Ooh,
nice.
That one.
That
nice.
looks cool.
And
I'm building the T-Rex skull from Jurassic Park,
which is super cool. I haven't seen that set yet.
I know. It's going to go in the Star Wars room, so I kind of want to make it Star Wars related in some way when I'm done. So I might put like a Mandalorian sort of symbol on it or something. I don't know. We're gonna figure it out. Okay. We're gonna make it Star Wars related. I feel like there's dinosaurs in Star Wars, right?
The Star Wars dinosaur.
Yeah, Star Wars dinosaur. We're gonna make it happen.
Well, in all fairness, didn't Star Wars have a little bit of everything in it?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I remember in the original, they didn't Luke and Obi-Wan walk past the wall. Right? It was all of that looking like this. So I feel like I can make something work.
Okay.
Well, look at your setup. That's
okay.
nice.
That's perfect.
Got it. I just all I got to do is scooch. It's great. It's great. I love my little studio here. It's good stuff.
It's not bad.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Oh, what are you drinking? I got my Ultra.
I poured myself a little Manhattan.
Nice. And of course, Yingling out of the mug, as always, y'all.
Do you chill that mug, Valhalla?
Not this one. It's made out of cow horn.
But you could still chill it, right?
I don't know why you would. I don't know.
Because
I feel
warm
like
beer
temperature
is
fluctuations. The beer's
Andrea,
cold.
Oh, no.
What are your thoughts on warm beer?
Not a fan. I mean, it's context dependent. Like, the beer that's like on top of the, 10,000 foot peak it took you 6 hours to get to, that's a good beer. It's extremely warm. It's like, hotter than your body temperature probably. That's kind of my warm beer. That's where I'll tolerate it.
Yeah, that's the scale. That's your okay. I get that. There's sometimes when you are doing something and you're like, I just need a beer, and sort of a celebration type beer. And if it's warm and skunky, it is what it is. I like my
well, you
beer
got to
cold.
earn that beer sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like one of the beer mile relay races where you got to drink a beer every lap. Yeah, it doesn't really matter if those are cold or not. You just got to get it done.
Just got to
I
get
feel like
it done.
if we were ever gonna get Valhalla running, it would be for a beer mile.
It would be something like that.
How dare you both? I ran track and cross country in high school.
Did you really?
I did.
You were
How many
hardcore than I
days
was.
ago was that?
I was in the military, I was one of the fastest guys in the company when it came to distance running. Like, you can't, to this day,
Wow.
I'm sure I could go out right now and run 5 miles without stopping.
What's your pace? What's your mile pace?
Well, it's been a very long time.
Well, what was it?
My fastest 3 mile time was 5:50 a mile.
Holy, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was pretty quick for a big guy.
That is quite fast.
That was a
very
long
fast.
time ago.
My pace when I run when I did the half marathon without any training whatsoever was like 11:5 or something. It was
The one where your wife smoked you.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about that. She smoked me. She would slow down and wait for me. Are you coming? And then she just decided to leave me. She just abandoned me.
It's the race energy. I understand where she's coming from.
Well, normally we train, but I didn't train at all. We decided that we don't have to. No, we didn't decide that we don't have to train. We ran out of time and forgot to train really.
Yeah.
And it was exhausting. And then I live streamed it while I was doing it, so that made it even worse.
Oh, that's
Marissa has questions. If you have questions, try to throw some red question marks in there for us, or of course
Yes,
you can always
please
super
do that.
chat.
Yeah, you can super chat Valhalla. You can't me, but
You still
throw
can't
a
get
right
super
question
chats?
in. No, none on this channel, especially none on this one. Let's see. All right, let me try to read the chat. Okay. Yeah, but throw in a red question mark if you have any questions. Beer is gross. Warm beer is worse. Fair enough.
Beer is not gross. How dare you? Who said
Guinness,
that?
Guinness is disgusting because you're supposed to serve it at room temperature, and you got to chew it and everything. I just don't want to deal with that.
Guinness, you did remind me that is my exception on the warm beer. A good warm Guinness. I'm not going to argue with that.
Oh, I couldn't imagine a worse tasting substance in the entire planet than room temperature
Oh
Guinness.
no, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. It's like if you could drink a loaf of bread. It's perfect.
You know what? That's drink a loaf of bread. All right, but it's not good tasting bread. It's like the bread when you're super hungover in the morning and you're just like, I need some sort of carbs just to absorb.
The pizza crust that's been sitting on the counter all night.
It's a German bread. It's a German bread. It's like that, super dark brown.
All right, I do have to ask a few questions, Andrea. You are a defense attorney, yes, out of the state of Washington.
I am indeed.
You are a public defender, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes. Yeah, for most of my career, I did contract public defense, several different counties at the trial level, and then for the state for appeals.
And do you see that changing? Do you see going private ever? Or do you like where
Well, I have been private. So we, my husband and I, we had a retail law practice in this little town called Walla Walla, Washington for almost 10 years.
Wait, what was the name of that town?
Walla Walla, Washington. Walla Walla. It's wonderful. If you ever get a chance.
Naming competition for kindergarten.
If you ever get a chance to go to Walla Walla, I definitely recommend it. It's a very idyllic little town. It's just beautiful. It's wine country now. All kinds of good vineyards and things like that. But so anyway, so we had the private practice for about 10 years. And so, I did some private work during that time. I just always kind of the bulk of what I did was public defense. And the main reason, honestly, was because I just preferred it that way. I liked public defense. I liked public defense clients. I liked not having the whole conflict of interest kind of situation that you have when you have somebody that is paying you and they want to hear something, and what they want to hear, may not be in accord with what they want to pay you for, so you have a lot more freedom as a public defender to be able to be kind of real with people about what the situation is and what the options are and things like that.
Because they have no choice.
Well, I mean, it's not that they have no choice. I would always try to make it clear. It's it is their choice. It's just that, reality kind of circumscribes a lot of the options that I can offer. I'm not a magician. The evidence is going to be what it is.
So what do you think Sarah Boone's problem is? Why is it that she's gone through so many attorneys and it's just not heeding their advice?
Well, she has unreal expectations,
she's just pathological. She's got personality disorder, probably kinds of problems. I've dealt with lots of people like Sarah Boone. It's one of these things that to me, it's almost more common to find personalities like that with the women in the criminal justice system than it is with the men. You get it with the men too, but it's just like there's so many fewer women in the system that the ones that do get caught up in it do kind of tend to be sorted out a little bit more than the men are. The men is just a little bit more of a kind of broad sweep.
So when it comes to the criminal justice system,
she's just an extremely disagreeable person. She doesn't have a realistic, perspective. She's extremely self-referential. Like she wants things to be the way that she wants them, and doesn't really, accept that just trying to kind of bully her way through isn't going to get her what she wants.
Well, it's not. It wasn't intentional, Andrea. So
it's what?
It wasn't.
It wasn't intentional. So there's that.
Yeah.
I can kind of see why she's divorced.
Just what was your first clue? Was it the personality or the suitcase?
It was really the quality of the stitching on the suitcase. That was it.
Yeah.
You know, I found those videos extremely hard to watch. Those clips. They were just. It was just so. I
have them.
Hateful.
Or I used to have them on my channel, my old channel, but I wouldn't watch them. I just put them out there in case anyone else wanted to watch them. But they are really sort of tragic to watch. Okay, we have a question for Half Irish. She says, "Will Andrea be BFFs with Excited Utterance?" Do you know Excited Utterance, Andrea?
I do. I know Excited Utterance on Twitter.
Okay. She has a YouTube channel, and she's been covering some of the Brian Kohberger stuff. So I think that's
nice. Yeah, well, we will definitely have to hook up. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that she did. Yeah, we had a huge Kohberger motion, so I haven't gotten on that yet. I've read it, but yeah, I still have to make a video about that one. Kind of nuts.
What was it? What was
so it's a motion for change of venue. It's been kind of on the horizon for a while.
Okay.
And just basically a lot of the data about obviously the publicity and stuff, but it was, one of the things that was fascinating to me, they submitted way back. See, I remember when this happened because, it's in my neck of the woods. It's part of why I started following it. It's like, about 100 miles down the road from me. So I got, I got friends that went to that school and things like that. So I, remember watching from the beginning and just kind of as the news trickled out and there was this constant flow of information coming from Moscow Police Department. Like every day they're doing a press release, they're trying to bring people up on it. And I remember after a while, it's starting to seem like, is this thing like really ever going to get solved? Because it's taking a long time. I mean, it was, about 6 weeks, I think, after the killing that they arrested him. And I remember before before they did, I had been thinking like, I don't think they're going to get him. I think it's been too long. It just seems like one of those things where you would think it would be obvious, who the killer is in that type of a killing. Like there's going to be some kind of obvious connection to them that can be traced.
Connection. Yeah.
Yeah. But it doesn't really seem like. It doesn't really seem like that happened. So
how was it that they honed in on him in the first place?
Well, that's the $1 million question because they really haven't been transparent about that. But what you can kind of read through the lines with all of this stuff that has kind of since come out with the investigation is that it was the touch DNA on the knife sheath. They found that and that drove everything. And so they went from there to go back and.
How do they know that it was his DNA? Was he in a database somewhere, or
no? They did the investigative genetic genealogy, and so they.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so they were able to tie it back to him somehow through that investigation, and then went through and kind of corroborated, so to speak, with the cell phone information, the car videos and stuff like that. But now it just looks like a lot of that stuff is falling apart because it seems a little bit more like it was, they took it to try to fit it to his situation rather than it had organically evolved to point in his direction. And, then the DNA just kind of corroborated that.
I heard an interesting, I watch a lot of history videos, and there's a history professor that I watch on YouTube. And he was talking about, it was just going down a rabbit hole a little bit on some Joe Rogan stuff. And an archaeologist, or a guy who claims to be an archaeologist. And he called them pseudo-archaeology. Or he engaged in pseudo-archaeology. I don't remember. It sounds right. Okay. But he was trying to describe what pseudo means because he didn't want to sound like a smug academic, right? I'm just poo-pooing on this because I disagree with his position. But he's like the difference for him, and I kind of want to adopt it, is when you start with the conclusion and then look at the evidence to work your way back to the beginning, as opposed to starting with the evidence and going where it naturally, progressively takes you. And so anytime I hear these sort of things, and I believe it's probably the vast majority of police investigations, I'm going to call it pseudo police investigations, because they're not following the evidence. They're starting with their conclusion and then trying to find the evidence that fits them in.
Yeah.
And so that's why I want to I want to start calling it pseudo investigation and not a police investigation. So
in all fairness, isn't that kind of how policing works though? You start with the crime and then have to fit the evidence to it.
But the crime is the dead bodies. It's the DNA, it's the blood, it's the videos, it's the evidence that you look at to then render the conclusion or your theory of the case. You don't start with, I think it's this guy and let's figure out how to craft the evidence towards him.
Well, I don't know if you've been paying attention to Massachusetts at all, but that's exactly what cops do, sir.
Whatever do you mean?
That case has been absolutely insane and just keeps getting crazier by the week. We're getting new motions, new jurors are coming out.
Yeah.
You've been covering that one for
pretty
quite
wild.
a while, right? You've been covering that one for quite a while?
I just started watching the trial. I was kind of aware of it before, but I really hadn't been following it closely. And so I started watching the trial and it was, I don't know, it was getting interesting. It was just more, I think, compelling than I had really thought it was going to be. So, but it was like day 8 or so that I started streaming it. So I was a little bit of a late arrival to that one.
You didn't see the writing on the wall with that one coming like from a year ago? That was just the insanity surrounding. The only reason it sort of hit my radar, I mean, I knew about it, but when Turtle Boy, who I saw as a YouTuber getting charged with witness intimidation because he's covering the case, I was like, now that's interesting. And that's what gave me a deep dive into that case.
Yeah. Well, I did see the Turtle Boy stuff happen. And that was like, I mean, instant hello, First Amendment. Like, I'm not sure how they're going to clear that hurdle, but.
I looked at the statutes in Massachusetts and compared it to some statutes we have in Michigan. The statutes in Massachusetts, I feel like, are just like on their face unconstitutional. Like you can't even picket a court, or you can't picket in any way, shape, or form that could influence the outcome of a trial. It's like, okay, we have some talking to do.
Yeah, that's overbreadth problem, like major.
Yeah. DeWitt has a question. And they got the DNA or whatever from the parents' house garage.
Garbage.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think so, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah, there was something about that. They went through because he was like sealing up the garbage at his parents' house and put it in the neighbor's trash can or something bizarre.
So that's one of those completely uncorroborated media reports that's been, it's just endemic in this case. Like so much of that stuff out there, and really hard to know what is reliable and what is not. But
Trump fell down at a rally a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that.
CNN, gotta love them. God.
So you have a YouTube channel, for anyone who doesn't know. When did you start your YouTube channel?
I started my YouTube channel it's a couple of years ago now. It was during Deb v. Heard. I had been mostly running my mouth on Twitter, and I had gone on some other people's channels and stuff. And so a lot of people just encouraged me, Andrea, you should start your own channel. And so, but I didn't really want to. It's honestly something I still resist a little bit, because I'm not a super online person, and I don't really want to, be super online. It's just not how I live my life. And you kind of, you just get sucked into it. You know, there's a whole culture with the trial watching and the commentary and stuff like that. So I was really hesitant to go down that road. But then we got Isaac Baruch's cross-examination, and it was just this masterclass in how not to cross-examine a witness. And I'm like, I have to make this video series like about this, because that is what I would want to watch on YouTube. And so I broke it down like a boxing match. Like if this was, you know, combat, here's the moves each one's doing, and here's how she's countering that, and here's how he's, you know, catching her, ducking in, and stuff like that. And so it was just super fun. And then after that, I stuck around.
Isaac
Josie says she's fangirling over Andrea right now. I do have a serious question though. Do you use Amica cream?
I've never used Amica cream in my life. It's all just good genes, baby. Thank my mother.
All right, did I miss a super
the
chat?
Boxing
here?
scars get taken care of with all natural.
Marissa has
apparently
$2
not,
super chat.
because I'm still we had a little impromptu spar this morning, so
nice.
I picked up a couple.
Nice. Marissa has a $2 super chat for you.
Wash that cow horn.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. At the end of the stream, I will go in there and wash it with cold water, because that's what it was recommended to wash it with when I received it in the mail. And then I put it in dry until next time I need it. I'm not a savage, Marissa. God.
Excited Utterance is asking about your husband, Jeff. He is so awesome. So you're married. That's disappointing.
Yes. Almost 18 years. It'll be 18 years in October.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So so Jeff married for almost 18 months.
Stop
Jeff
it. I've been married for 7.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. I can't believe.
So yeah, Jeff and I met in law school, and like I said, we were law partners for almost 10 years. We worked every day in the same office, and so we were one of those couples where people were like, I could never do that. Like, yeah, I understand.
Work with your spouse.
Yeah. I think the main thing is because you know how it is in a law practice. You're just insanely busy. You're constantly, the phone is ringing. You got to run to court. You got an emergency thing that come up. I mean, it's always something. So for all that we worked together, we didn't actually spend that much time together. You can't. You know, we're working on different things. But yeah, so he's my mod now on my channel. He's my chief mod, and that's been fun.
You go to work and he's there. You go home and he's there. You go online and he's there.
He's there.
Okay.
We must get along, huh?
Apparently.
That would be my conclusion.
That's
Mr. Valhalla and I worked together when we met. That's how we met as well. It was in a bar.
Okay.
But, you know, same.
Same.
Bartender and busboy hooking up. You know, that old love story.
Yeah.
Bouncer and waitress, if you get technical.
I did this wrong.
Oh, no.
What'd you do wrong?
I put them backwards. You know, I put them at the wrong orientation.
Oh, I did that.
It gets tricky, some of this stuff. It gets very tricky.
Well, especially when you're fielding questions. Makes it a little more complicated.
So
can't even blame my Manhattan.
Do you still do criminal defense, or have you moved on?
So right now I am what I consider basically being on sabbatical. I've been, like I said, I was a contract appellate defender for 14, 15 years. I mean, somewhere in that ballpark. And I don't know. I don't have kids. Like, I have the luxury of kind of being able to sit back and take a break and decide if, you know, I want to keep doing that, or if I'd like to go back to trial work, or if there's, you know, just some other road I would like to do. So I took the opportunity. I did not renew my contract, so I'm not actively like taking on new cases right now. but I'm still working out, how appeals are. They take like years. So I still have cases I'm working. But yeah, not really actively trying to seek out legal work right now.
Well, that's luxury. So do you plan on keep working on your channel and keep streaming, or do you plan on doing something else?
I mean, for now, definitely. It was one of those things that was, it was like serendipity has played a big role in my life, just things happen, opportunities come up, and I try to pay attention to that kind of thing. And so, it was Depp v. Heard. I mean, that whole thing blew up. Johnny Depp calls me on the telephone, things get wild, it's crazy. I can't not appreciate the very big energy in what's happening here. And so I wanted to, just kind of lean into that a little bit and see where it went.
Johnny Depp actually called you?
He did.
That's kind of cool.
Nice chat with Johnny Depp. Yeah, very, very nice man. One of the nicest man you'd ever want to meet.
He seemed like he was pretty all right.
Yeah.
Did I know that? What? I feel like I knew that he called you, but then I completely forgot about it. So give me the context that Johnny Depp called you.
Well, so I had met his friend, Josh Richmond, who was there, Josh was there at the trial with him and stuff, but they've, been close for years and everything. So, it just, it happened through Josh.
All right. My computer might shut down. I just dumped a beer on it. Just so if I leave, that's what's up.
Outstanding. Outstanding.
Okay. I might need to go take care of something. Hang on.
David said, if Wendy's not here, I'm not going to be here either. Sabotage.
He's out.
Oh. So that's got to be surreal, right? You just jump on YouTube and you're like, hey, here's some problems that I see with this legal situation. And the next thing you know, you're getting Johnny Depp phone calls. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. It was kind of surreal. I can't lie about that.
That's actually really cool. We had Rob from Long Lumber on. And
yeah.
He's a lot of fun.
Oh, Rob totally blew up with Johnny Depp. He had that great video about the bed and the splinter.
Yes. I was going to say, you kind of remind me of that situation a little bit, where you had immediate success with the not to diminish anything that the success you had, because obviously you've earned it, but it was a very sudden uptick in YouTube, which is
very sudden, and I can't take credit in the sense of so many people grind. I didn't. I walked into a big audience. It was very, very, like I said, just serendipity really worked for me.
That's awesome.
All right, we're gonna hope that this thing stays up and running. I've dumped liquid on a computer once before, and it worked for a few hours, and then the stuff fried. And then it was like, nope, it's dead now. So we're going to hope this keeps going. Torin has a $5 super chat for you, Valhalla.
Hey, Torin. Caught up now. My sessions added up to 11 hours and 20 minutes. Oh, I was way off. I thought it was way longer than that. I think Andrea has about 2 to 4 hours left to finish. Love the interview.
This is going to take me forever because, I keep getting stuff wrong and then I can't figure it out.
Well, I will say that there is.
Wait, he says, "Love the interview in the bold choice by Andrea."
Build choice. Build choice.
Oh my god!
Get your dyslexia in check, man. Jesus.
No, it makes me who I am.
This is not right. This is not right. What?
So what is it about boxing that appeals to you? Because that I find very fascinating.
It's just the realest thing that there is. There's no bullshit in a boxing ring. You can tell yourself all the stories you want and, have all of the grand ideas in the world. And when it gets down to getting in the ring, it's going to be how it is. And it doesn't matter how you feel about it and stuff.
So... Yeah, I can't shut down. I mean, I guess I could shut down my computer. Stray wants to know what we're all building again, because maybe others have missed it. So I am building Spinosaurus Rex skull from Jurassic Park. That's what I'm doing.
I am building the Hogwarts castle from Harry Potter. And I think I just lost my page, and that sucks.
I'm building Himeji Castle, and I'm trying desperately to get the roof on.
The roof's gonna be hours, apparently.
It's gonna be. I'm not sure how this roof is gonna hold water, but we'll see.
I think I'm gonna beat both of you.
You're definitely gonna beat me. I'm stuck. I don't know what I did here. I did something bad.
So do you play?
I can
with
always
Legos
blame
and
the pieces, right? Do you get to blame the pieces after all this time, like it's the wrong piece, or like they forgot the piece, or do you indulge in any of that anymore?
Nope, that's all horseshit. We don't do any of that here.
One time when Valhalla and I were going head to head on the exact same build, we didn't have a guest. It was just him and I, and we were like racing. They actually missed a piece in the box, and luckily I had one out in a bin out in the garage, so I was able to finish it. But it's only the one time. Otherwise,
so it does happen.
Pieces. Yes,
it does happen on occasion.
I found it. See, okay, I got to show you what the problem is here.
Very
Those are
similar
two different
pieces.
Very
similar.
Very similar pieces.
I don't know. I just see two different pieces. I don't know what the issue is.
Now I got to fix my roof.
I was going back through that build, by the way, Valhalla. We went head to head on Starry Night, Van Gogh Starry Night. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
he beat me. He beat me.
Yeah, but I don't think I got all the colors in the right order.
I don't think you did either, because yours looked way different than mine.
Yeah, I noticed that when I was going back through and editing it. I'm like, mine looks different than his. And then I compared it, and I was like, I think I got some of the colors wrong.
So you're saying you cheated. He admitted it, y'all.
No. I improvised. I overcame. I adapted.
Sounds a lot like cheating.
If you're not cheating, you're not trying, as they say at the gym.
Really? I always wanted a box.
Well, you got to know how to fight dirty. It doesn't necessarily have to be what you do, but you better know how to do it because other people do.
Right. Watch out for them headbutts. So you
Yep.
don't lose your mind like Mike Tyson and bite off a dude's ear.
That would be better if you didn't.
Yeah. I don't blame you, Mike. If you ever want to come on
ear.
Lego, let me know.
He really was too. Evander was like really, really misbehaving in that one. I could
he was
understand
headbutting the
why
shit
he
out
was
of
so
him.
frustrated.
Yeah, you got headbutted like 4 times or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a bunch.
Crazy.
Oh, I'm getting a little confused. Please be
Jay,
careful.
I'm not
Some
alone.
roof pieces some roof pieces are sharp, Torin says.
What on earth is this? Okay.
Oh, Pam says that I like watching Andrea because she usually has a different outlook than other law tubers. I have noticed that when you go on like laid back law with Hunley and stuff, sometimes your perspectives are a little different. It's always good to have different perspectives. Sometimes I'll jump in and just steel man the argument.
Yeah.
Because it's boring if we're all talking the same thing.
Yeah. No, and I think that's important. That's it's one of my, it's been honestly, like with the Karen Reed thing, it's been one of my big pet peeves is how there's no strong manning of what's happening, no steel manning of the of the case. It's like everything's gotten so polarized that everybody is kind of just speaking to their own people, and so that means that they aren't really debating a good faith version of the other viewpoint. Everything just kind of becomes very exaggerated and very characterized, and everything is taken to an extreme. Oh, you have to believe that 100 million people were involved in this conspiracy if you believe Karen Reed didn't do it. Oh, you have to believe just
Well,
everybody involved with the tail light, like all that stuff, and it's just no, you really don't. Like you can address it in good faith and disagree with it without having to, engage in bad faith with the argument.
Well, the couple of issues that I ran up with that case on the anti-Karen Reed side, first of all, if I was a police officer and someone just died in my house and I drag them out front, do I need to pin it on somebody, or can I say, oh, he never came in the house? Oh,
yeah.
Do we need to pin it on somebody? So I have an issue with the need to, use her as a scapegoat, because otherwise it's just other state cops that are our friends investigating this thing. Oh, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I feel like they didn't need to pin it on somebody, and that's a hard thing that I get that I can't get my head around with the defense's argument a little bit is why did they need to pin it on Karen Reed? And then the other thing, and then so that's one of the issues. And then I said the other issue that the jury's going to have to overcome is not that everybody lied, but everyone in that house lied. And that girl driving down the street drunk in the back seat that says that she saw a black shape lied. You're gonna have to though convince 12 people that all of those people lied. Like you can convince a person that another person lied, but you got to convince 12 people that 12 people lied. That's a hard thing to overcome. It just is. It's not human nature to presuppose someone's lying to you. So those are the two legitimate issues I have with the Karen Reed case, outside of the fact that there's absolutely no evidence that she did it.
Yeah.
Stray wants to know how you got into boxing.
So the honest answer to how I got into boxing is that I used to run a lot, and I was doing half marathons and things like that. And it was getting to be winter one year, and I just was looking outside, and it was dark, and it was gray, and it was cold, and I did not want to get up at 5 a.m. to go run. I just didn't want to do it anymore. So I wanted to find something I could do inside, and I thought I would play indoor soccer, but I couldn't get on a team, and so I ended up in a boxing gym. And literally from day one, I was hooked. I mean, I walked in. Everybody, I think a lot of people have this experience. You kind of walk in, you definitely see it after you've been at the boxing gym for a while. You walk in, you're like, this isn't going to be shit. Come on, I run, I'm in good shape. I'm tough. This isn't going to be nothing. Oh no, they will wipe you off the floor your very first day at that gym. And so, that was my experience, and I loved it, and just never stopped going back.
I went to CrossFit, or is it CrossFit or cross training, whatever it's called, for a couple of weeks, and that kicked my ass. And I was like, nah, I don't want to do this anymore. That hurts too much.
I just loved it. And like I said, my friend Heidi, I met her at the gym. We actually went to high school together, but we were enough years apart that we didn't really know each other at the time. So that was just kind of a funny little small world thing. But I met her from the gym, and it's like you have these crazy tight bonds with people that, punch you in the face and make you hurt, and you have to work through it. And it's just, it's a very powerful experience.
I have been in combat sports for most of my life, right? I wrestled in high school. I did combatives and jiu-jitsu in the military. After that, I continued with the training. And it was always a bizarre thing to me and I'm going to get real chauvinistic on you. It's always been a bizarre thing for me to see women that get into combat sports. Do you think that there's a... I don't know how to ask this question, I guess.
It's not appealing to most women. Yes, of course, there's a massive gender divide in it. Most women don't want to get punched in the face.
It's not that bad though, is it? Getting punched.
It's really not. You totally get used to it. It's really not that big of a deal.
I just want to see you show up on a stream one time with black eye, looking like
But see, I'm better than that. I'm better than look at like my nose is all straight. I told you I sparred today, like nothing. I'm pristine. You gotta give me some credit for my skills.
Defense wins championships.
All right, I have a question for you because Josie's gonna have a heart attack if I don't ask it. Andrea, what upcoming trials are you looking forward to covering besides Kohberger?
So the big one that I have on the horizon is Richard Allen. I'm planning to go to Indianapolis, or Indiana to watch that one because they're not allowing the cameras in the courtroom.
Wait, what case is this?
This is Richard Allen over in Delphi, Indiana. So this was the murder of the two young girls that were found out by the bridge. And it's just been this long, crazy road of getting somebody arrested, getting the case to trial. It's just a lot of chaos with this case, and so just one where transparency would help so much, but the court is just very, very resistant to it. So I am very excited about that one.
When you go into these cases, do you pick them for any specific reason? Like, are these cases that you think have issues judiciously or judicially?
No, I would say usually it's just the case grabs me. Something about the case interests me. Like I never would have thought Depp versus Heard would have been interesting. And what happened was, I think just like many people, I had kind of assumed, Johnny Depp probably did something, whatever. I just didn't know much about the details. Well, then it's getting they're gearing, up for the trial in the UK. And the audios come out, the witness statements come out, and I had no idea that there was this whole, other version of events of what happened there. So it was really eye-opening to me, and I realized instantly as soon as I saw all this stuff, oh, this is the extremely rare celebrity defamation case that is actually going to go to trial in the United States, because it's not against the press, right? It's against the two first party people involved. So they're not going to be able to throw it out on actual malice like they do 99% of the time, because the press just says, oh, well, we just sort of thought, that's what it was. And that's the end of the story. So I knew that one was going to go all the way in Virginia. Then we got that verdict in the UK. Have either of you ever read the UK judgment?
No.
No, I think I remember at the time, though, that there was some kind of sus activity taking place there.
It is one of the most infuriating things that you would ever read. It is, it's ridiculous to the point of absurdity. Reversing very ordinary legal reasoning ideas, things like, normally, for example, a prior inconsistent statement, the whole reason they have all different rules for hearsay in the UK, which I learned is crazy. But that aside, prior consistent statements are generally considered more reliable in the United States. That's why they're an exception to the hearsay rule, because the idea is you're saying that when you don't have an incentive to make yourself look good or, get some kind of positive benefit from it. Whereas when you're in court, you are clearly self-interested with your testimony. Your testimony is going to be self-serving. He's writing these things in this opinion, those audio recordings. Okay. I still, to this day, the audio recordings are what decided that case. It's one of the most, well-documented abusive relationships that anybody could ever hope to have. Nobody has hours and hours and hours of their abuser recording them, abusing them on recording. The judge in the UK says, no, that's not reliable. I'm not going to give those any weight because she wasn't under oath at the time. You couldn't miss the point harder if you were trying. It was just asinine. It's completely asinine, and it was just this. It was very unjust, and so I got caught up in the just wanting to see a fairer outcome in Virginia based on everything that I saw come out in the UK.
Did you see Nick Whitney from Taking Care of Maya asked to be removed, or asked to remove himself? Did you watch the Taking Care of Maya case, or is Joseph?
I did not watch that one.
That was the chronic pain one, right?
Yeah. We got a super chat for you, Valhalla.
I'm in love with Andrea, smart chick who can kick butt. Well, you should be. Andrea's amazing.
I always wanted a box because I like the idea of expressing my frustration in a physical way sometimes. Legally.
It's never too late. It's never too late, I swear. Like you think it is, and you never like go, win nationals or anything like that, but you don't even have to compete if you don't want to, but it's a wonderful sport. Like even if you just are like there to hit mitts, or whatever, learn technique and stuff, it's life changing.
Between work, building Legos, and like my other hobbies in the shop, I just don't know if I have time. It's really the Legos that take up the bulk of my day.
Yeah.
Dolly Talk wants to know, where do you think Kohberger could get a fair trial? I don't think he could get a fair trial anywhere, but where do you think?
Yeah, I mean that's the $1 million question. Obviously they're looking at Boise. Boise's better just because of the bigger population. There's one of my chatters is down there from Pocatello, which is Bannock County, and that one might be okay. That might be okay. It's down in like southeastern Idaho. It's very Mormon country, very LDS, a lot of LDS in that area.
Is there a death penalty on for Brian?
Yes. Yeah, he's.
I would love a entirely Mormon jury to sit in a death penalty case.
Exactly. Right?
That would be amazing.
That would be all right.
So, do you think, Andrea, that you could take on Brian Albert? Did you take him out?
He's got size on me. The issue with fighting the dudes is that obviously they can hit so much harder than I can. So just one good smash on me, they can hurt me way worse than I could hurt them. But if we were just like doing a spar and he's not trying to kill me. Well, women can come in the ring with me. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, it's real in there. Okay. It's real shit in there. Go ahead and try to fight the boys if you want. Knock yourself out.
There was that,
no pun intended.
that male tennis. I think he's a commentator now, but he was a famous tennis player forever ago. And he said at one point, he said
Wasn't
about,
it McEnroe?
He said about Williams, one of the Williams sisters, that it's the best female, and they're like, well, why didn't you just say best tennis player? It's like, because she couldn't stand up to any male tennis player. She'd be like 500th best, if you were to put them all in a category. And everyone was getting on him about that, and she came out and she's like, absolutely not. There's no way I could compete with the men. It's a completely different sport.
Yeah,
well,
it is a different sport.
That's why we have weight classes and gender divisions. I don't know how society forgot this, but men are a different caliber of athlete when it comes to
society hasn't forgotten it. We're just in a very gaslighty phase of civilization right now. We're in the post-truth society, and so it's really important to convince people by whatever means necessary that 2 + 2 = 5. I mean, this is old. This is an old story.
I have a video I might show a little later that I posted out on Twitter. But there's a $2 super chat for you, Valhalla.
Toilet Carissa says, get Mike Tyson a Lego Law Life Fund. I would be all for that.
That would be awesome.
By the way, Wendy H is not here. She is, if you guys are new to the show, she is usually the one, she's our MC. She pulls up the chats. She makes sure that the chat is not ignored during these streams because Valhalla, myself, and our guests are building Lego and talking. But she is under the weather, so it falls to me because Valhalla won't step up. And so if I miss something,
wow,
if I miss a question, post it in there again, and better yet, try to hit a red question mark in front of it so that I can see it, because I'm going to be looking down and then back up again.
Weird.
But
I missed that whole
the
conversation when we were deciding who was going to do that. I missed the whole thing. My bad.
All right. So how did Andrea meet Christina Placas and end up streaming with her before Deppy heard?
Oh, Pickles, Christina. Christina was an OG in hashtag Justice for Johnny Depp. Christina was the infamous one. And so she's actually one of the ones that got me. The first thing I ever said about the case on Twitter was in response to something that Christina had posted. And what I said was that I have represented actual murderers that I liked better than Amber Heard, and she really liked that and blew it up, and then that blew up, and so that's kind of where everything started. So she was absolutely amazing. Still love her. She and Jax had gotten doxxed by Amber Heard supporters, and so that. It just changed things. It shifted stuff around and some of the dynamics and things like that. But that's how I met Christina. She was and remains super awesome.
One of my tweets got shared or liked and then reposted by Elon. And I'm trying to do the same thing so that, I'm trying to get his attention a little more and try to get him on this show. I don't know, but I'm happy to see that that is like something promising, just tweet out there enough and you'll get the right person to respond. You can
exactly.
The world is a much smaller place than it was when we were growing up. That's for damn sure.
It is a small world. You'll like this. Val. I got in a Twitter pissing match with Cecilia Brækhus, the first lady of boxing. That was
nice.
That was
nice.
fun. That was fun.
Do you compete boxing, by the way? You talked about you don't have to compete. Do you compete?
I don't anymore because at my age, it's insane to get through the physical. It's just an enormous pain, and so I haven't done it. I do still think about it from time to time, and I might do it again. But no, I had two bouts years and years ago, and that was it. That's my whole career.
Have you ever thought about going into kickboxing?
No.
Because see, that's what I actually wanted to do. I wanted to do kickboxing. I didn't want to just stand there and just get punched in the face.
Dave, stop it.
Yeah.
I wanted to be for kickboxing.
I'm a kicker. If you start fighting me, I'm
for
kicking.
Kickboxing. Could you get your leg to your head? Could you put your foot at your head right now?
You know what? I am like
like right now. Like show us.
I'm chubby, but nimble. I'm chubby and active. I can do things. Hey, I climbed a mast today, so I can do that kind of stuff.
That a boy.
$5 super chat for you, Valhalla.
We already read that one.
Oh wait, I'm way out of sync. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, you are. We did have another super chat though.
Here we go. There we go, Zach.
I got it.
Yeah.
Zach, Andrew's the only woman that slightly frightens me, well, maybe except for the white rabbit. Be afraid of the white rabbit for sure. She's terrifying.
Pam wants to know what the judge says when you come in with a black eye.
So I never came in with a black eye. I did come in with my nose, a little swelling on my nose at one point, and the bailiffs gave me a hard time because they knew that I boxed. So,
Julia 543, I will answer this one for you because she's smart. That's why she has resisted having a channel for so long and still struggles with actually streaming. I feel the struggle. There's things I want to talk about, but then I'm like, no, I don't. I'm not going to.
Yeah,
I'm not going to.
The biggest part, really the hardest part of it is because you get attached to your chat, right? And I have a great chat. Everybody knows, and you stream, you get your chat, and I have this awesome chat, and so I feel this kind of responsibility, but I try to take that and view it as my responsibility is to show up, the best way that I can. And if I'm just coming online to come online so that I can say words. Like that's just, it's not meaningful for somebody. I'm trying to find the art in all of this, and you have to have inspiration if it's going to be something real and something valuable. So I'm not the most consistent with my content production, but when I do it, it's generally because I've gotten really into it. And I think that's where most of the value comes from.
Can you say that again? But I'm gonna make myself big, and then I'll just sort of mouth along, like I said it. That would be great.
We kind of stream. Well, not that. Let me finish the sentence before you take what I'm saying. We kind of stream similar in that regard, right? Like I'll go weeks sometimes without streaming at all, and I noticed that you're kind of the same way. Granted, you put out a much better product than I do, and I'm okay with that. But I think that's almost
months
important, but maybe not. Maybe that's not.
Well, I think the deal with it is just that I'm not doing content creation as a job. Like I'm not doing it because I need to make money at it or anything like that. I'm doing it because I enjoy it. And so that does give me a lot more freedom to not have to just be putting in the time or to be worried about, 500 people just subscribed, and if I don't put out another video in the next 48 hours, like 200 of them are going to leave, and just, all of that kind of extraneous consideration that's really not what I want to focus on. Like if I wanted to like MBA a YouTube channel, I could. It's just that's not what I want to do. It's not what I'm trying to accomplish.
Aaron, I've always loved my boat more than you guys. I just hit it better.
I heard a story that the best day in your life is the day you buy your boat, and the second best day is the day you sell it.
Okay, so let me tell you that I heard that when I bought my first big boat. Like I bought a 35-foot sailboat.
Wow.
And
he's fancy.
That's a lot of boat.
I bought it in 2015, I think. I want to say 2015. And so people told me like the best day of your life is the day you buy the boat, and the next best day is when you sell it. I just sold it. I just sold it last week. And I can't tell you how much of a relief it is because I don't have to deal with that anymore. And I still have another boat to use to sail. And it's my dad's boat that I grew up on, and I'm sailing that around. But so I'm because it's less sad because I still have something to use, but I was so happy to be done with it. And I went down there today and the boat wasn't there. And I was like, this feels right. The boat's gone.
That's good.
No, there's very much truth to that. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But
we live in an area where it would be really nice to have a boat. But we had a boat when I was a kid, and not even a fancy boat or anything like that. Just
Sorry, Valhalla. Did I pull on a chat you wanted to read?
Not exactly. It's fine. Sinbad was saying that Brian Albert would be cocky and thrown off by Andrea's presence, and she called the win for Andrea round one. I'm okay.
Okay, Josie, I'm going to start skipping your questions if you don't put the red question marks in there. But I see you.
Stop punishing chat. God.
I'm supposed to be.
We need an update on the Alice Evans and Lone.
Oh God!
What is this Griffund case?
Yes, Yohan Griffith. Guys, this is the divorce case from hell. This is Amber Heard and Johnny Depp if they had children involved. So. It's gotten very sad and very dark because we're years into this now, and he's still can't see his kids as far as we can tell. There's still custody disputes and stuff going on. So I did some family law when I was in the private practice with my husband. But I did not like it. It was not enjoyable to me at all. So I tried to stay away from it. Yeah.
It's not common. I'll say that it's not common, but it's not unheard of for cases to go years, or the entire minor or minority lifetime of the minor children. you know, the parents fighting and arguing over custody and alienation, and the father or the mother trying to get parenting time and make things work. Some cases, the vast majority of cases, though, they'll argue in the beginning, and then things kind of settle down and go into a pattern, and everyone just kind of does their thing. That's the majority of cases, like 80%. Then there's like 15% that will be really nice and amicable throughout the entire thing, and there's never an issue. And then there's the 5% that fight continuously and nonstop until even sometimes after the kids are adults. Like I went to Friend of the Court once, which is like the agency that represents families and stuff in the family law court system here in Michigan. And there was this guy, he's like 70. And he's sitting here at Friend of the Court, and I was just chit-chatting with him. And I was like, what are you doing? You know, it seems odd that you're here. And he's like, I got to make my child support payment. He's still paying for a child that was like 45 now, you know. And so depending on what you want to do, you could spend the rest of your life fighting in family law court.
Yeah.
It's really bad sometimes.
My brother has a family case that is still ongoing, and he's been dead for like 3 years.
Wow.
Nice. Oh, yeah. Andrea, did I cut you off about a boat story when you were a kid? I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying we had just a little bayliner boat even, and I kind of remember what an enormous hassle it is to own a boat. It's a lot. And then a sailboat, I mean, a sailboat's a whole different thing. Like you can't just haul that thing in and out of the water. I mean, I guess you can, some of them, but it's still like not the same as just hauling your little bayliner out. So, you know, so then you gotta moor it and all that stuff. And so that's why I'm not a boat person. I would like to be a boat person. I've always aspired to be a boat person. Like that whole like sail to Tahiti thing. I would love to do that.
Yeah, Tahiti's overrated. Sail somewhere really? Cold. No one's there. That's why.
Okay,
you know, if you go to the warm places.
I gotta tell you, this last spring in February, you can educate me on like why I'm so incredibly wrong. I was down in Chilean Patagonia, and so like
as
down
one is sometimes.
This was like right when I first finished my my appellate job, and I just took off for 3 weeks. Me and my cousin went down there and we just did a bunch of hiking and driving around and stuff like that. But so it's a ton of fjords down there, and you take a lot of ferries to get around. Like the roads are crazy. Okay, the main highway, like with the truck traffic and everything through like northern and central Patagonia, it's a gravel road. It's like what, you know, here in the Northwest, it would be a logging road, we would call it. But it's literally like the entire road traffic for that part of the country. So they move a lot of stuff around by ferry. So we spent a lot of time on ferries. And it is so beautiful on the water there. I mean, all those just little inlets and all the little places you can go. And there is not a single recreational boat in sight. And I don't know, like there's obviously something I don't know, because me as a non-sailor looking at this, I'm like, I would sail the shit out of this. It looks amazing. But then I can also kind of look around and see, well, there's not really boat infrastructure. So there's probably like a reason why these boats aren't down here. Maybe tides are bad. Like, I don't know. But to me, that looked like where I would want to be on a boat.
So there's two types of boaters, and I don't care if you're talking about sailboats or power boats. There's the type of sailors or boaters that stay close to the shore, stay close to their home port, will go out for a day or two. Maybe they'll do a weekend rendezvous, you know, with a bunch of other boats from their club or their marina or something. And then there's the sailors that go out and will sail anywhere, and they go to the places where nobody's at, and they'll sail around the world, or they'll sail, you know. So there's two different types. And I have to imagine if there's no boat infrastructure, you're not going to get that small minority, or the only boats you're going to get is that small minority of pleasure sailors that are just going to go out anywhere and look for the vacant beaches and just, I want to go explore this sort of stuff. And I think that's probably the issue. And
that's the issue. It's not that many people anyway. And
yeah, I mean, I think, and they all have a YouTube channel anyway, so you could go to look.
Yeah, probably.
Let's see here. There was a question that I tried to grab. Again, if you guys threw out a question, I'm sure it was awesome, and I would love to ask it. I just probably missed it, so go ahead and ask again. Oh, Jeff does family law. Family law is a different beast.
Yeah.
I'm not jealous.
Yeah,
of
family law is definitely a different beast. So my husband, he does guardianship work, adult guardianship work, which is also its own its own beast. Look out for your parents is all I'm going to say about that.
Well, and that's so I say I do litigation, but my bread and butter is family law, trust disputes. I do a lot of contested guardianships and conservatorships for the elderly or the mentally, things like that. I do. That's probably like half my practice is that, and then I do civil and criminal on top of it. But I used to do a lot of GAL work when I was first out of law school, and so there's just you really need to watch out for your loved ones. And then the other thing is it's so easy for people to take advantage of them, even other loved ones.
Yep.
So
it's usually other loved ones. It's usually other loved ones. It's the daughter who comes home to take care of mom, or just whatever. And all of those old family dynamics that are 20, 30, 40 years old, but the kids still hate each other over something from when they were 8, that all comes out and comes into play when mom needs care.
It absolutely does. Bad Duck has a $2 super chat for you.
How much for the hot woman playing with Legos? Bad Duck, shame on you. Be better.
I wanted you to read
website.
That one.
Wrong website.
What is your law? Oh, actually, so here, what is your law specialty? I always wanted to ask you on a stream. Yeah, so that's essentially what I do. I would say like half of my practice is like family law, trust litigation, guardianship, and stuff like that. And then the other half is I do more civil litigation. I represent some unions and some corporations that are involved in litigation and things like that. And that's probably like 40% of my work. And then I do criminal defense. I used to do a lot of public defense work, and I used to be a prosecutor back even before I graduated law school. But criminals have a hard time paying me, and I don't do public defense work anymore.
Yeah. Very few criminals with deep pockets.
Does your husband stream?
No.
Has he ever been on a stream or no?
I don't think so. He's just been my mod.
That's cool.
Jeff actually, he's super not online. This was a big difference between us because I've I don't live online or anything, like I said, but I've just always been more online really than he was, and he would give me a hard time about, the lists I'm on, things like that.
Have you made it onto some lists? Let's hear about this.
I must have made it on some lists. I mean, how many degrees of separation am I from Adam Waldman?
All right, fair enough. I mean, is there like a whole fan page on Kiwi Farms or something?
Oh, I don't know about that. You'd have to tell me. I've never looked. I've
only been on the farms twice in my life, and once was a Ricada thing, and the other one was to search my name after I realized I have access and I know where to go for it. And the only time that MLS or me at all was mentioned was in connection with Ricada's arraignment. And I was like, that I feel like that's a good thing, but I'm a little disappointed.
Anytime I went on Ricada's stream, I would end up on the farms every single time. Yeah.
I wasn't even
that
mentioned.
Would probably be how I got on it. If I'm on it, it would be from that, I guess.
You got a member chat.
Tia Nina says, "Hey y'all, member for 3 months. Thank you so much, Tia. Welcome to Goat Herders, y'all."
Am I a member of your channel? Did someone gift a membership and see if I receive one?
You get goat emojis, see?
Do I?
Well, if you're a member, you do.
All right. You
so,
got a
Val,
$4.99 super chat.
how many goats do you have?
At the moment, 25, I think.
Okay.
Too many.
Something like that. I do.
Are they for meat?
So the goats that I raise are Nubian goats, and they're what they call a dual-purpose breed. They're a very large dairy goat.
Oh.
And they have they call them gentle giants. They're typically pretty friendly. And they have the highest milk fat content of like all the breeds from what
Nice. Yeah, I get it. I aspire to have a water buffalo someday for that same reason. Highest milk fat.
Water buffalo?
Water buffalo. I'm telling you. Well, you get the mozzarella di bufala is where it's at.
I actually ran into one in
doing
Iraq
this weekend.
What's your wife doing? Goat yoga?
She's being forced. She hates yoga, and she's doing goat yoga.
Goat yoga
no
is
way.
not a good idea, you guys. It's not a good idea.
It doesn't seem like a good idea to me.
No. Sharp, pointy little hooves, fat goats jumping all over you, peeing on you.
I do like goats. I do like goats better than sheep, but goats in general, sheep are just dumb. But goats can be a little bit alarming, in my opinion.
They can be. So
I just want the ones that faint.
Those
the
are
fainting goats are fun.
Myotonic goats, the Tennessee fainting goat.
Yeah.
And they can actually like grow out of that. By the way, so if you like do it too much, they can kind of get over it.
It's like exposure therapy for fainting goats. I like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Just keep scaring them into fainting until they eventually grow out of it. That's awesome.
Horrible.
You got a $4.99 super chat up there, by the way, sir.
KTG says, loving all the craftiness. Well, thank you. We do.
By the way, how are we progressing there, Andrea? Let me see if I can pull you up full screen. You can show us.
Well, I can show you. Yeah, I've made some progress on my roof. Nice. So it's I'm getting some little turrets and stuff there. Nice. So not too bad.
And Valhalla, are you almost done yet?
Almost. I'm very close to being done.
You guys are gonna smoke me.
I've got like 10 bags left, Andrea. I've got so much left to do.
I got 3, and yes, you're gonna lap me. I can about promise you that.
No, this one I started last week actually with Cope and Seethe. Started it there and knew that it was gonna be at least another stream worth of Lego here.
By the way, did you see that Cope and Seethe? I've been following him on Twitter, and he had someone went like attacked, not physically attacked him, but like went off on him on Twitter. And so he went to go look at this guy's profile, and let's just say that he has cartoon little horses in inappropriate positions all over his.
No.
So he just posted it out there. He was like, "Listen, if you're gonna go off on me, maybe not have all of this on your profile."
Bronies.
Yeah, bronies. Are you a fan of the bronies, Andrea?
I don't know if I've ever met a brony.
No?
No, I don't know if I've ever met a brony.
I
live a pretty quiet life over here.
This is why your husband stays off the internet. Hey, Solomon Anderson's in the chat. Welcome, Solomon.
What's up, Solomon?
I know I'm way behind in the chat, so this is old. But Andrea, did you ever cover or did you ever look into at all the Zachariah Anderson case?
So I didn't. I missed that one when it happened, and then, but obviously a lot of people that I know and look up to have followed that one, and so I'm very aware of it, and I want to take a look at the appeal, since that's kind of my wheelhouse anyway. To get a sense of what they have, to work with, because I understand it's some. One of my big pet peeves has been the pseudoscience in courts. Like, this has been something I've litigated this for over a decade. I deal with it on appeal. It just, it grates me because it's just so bad. It's so terrible. And it always ends up just being allowed in under some type of justification anyway, right? Like, so here in Washington, we follow the Fry standard for scientific evidence. So it's a very less stringent standard than a lot of other places do, where like you have to have some kind of basic showing of scientific reliability. No, in Fry, basically, if the experts say it's good, you will bow to the experts, and their opinion will come in. So we just get an awful lot of junk that comes in all the time. And then, the Court of Appeals won't really care because, they didn't preserve the right objection, just whatever. And so it's stuff that is often critically important. Things like a ballistics match. That is the only piece of evidence in the case. A match. What does a match mean? Well, if you were the jury on this case, you would be severely misguided about what a match means because of, what the forensic scientist told them the significance of that was, when scientifically there is a limit on the certainty you can have about that type of comparison. And so I'm very aware of these types of issues, and I know that was a case that was part of the issue with Zachariah Anderson, was the scientific evidence being extremely overstated and in a misleading way.
Did you see the Tiffany Roy letter?
No.
I'll pull it up right here. So Tiffany Roy's, she's a DNA analyst out of Florida, and she wrote a complaint against whatever her name is that testified in the Zachariah Anderson case about the DNA. Trofinger, Lisa Trofinger. There's her name, and it went completely unanswered. And so then she wrote this scathing sort of kind of open letter to the department, just citing all kinds of issues with her testimony and with the fact that this is supposed to be peer reviewed. There's supposed to be standards. So I've marked up the letter, but this is her letter here that she wrote, and she's like, and you have, first of all, you have no chain of communication, so I can't contact anyone to lodge this complaint, even though under the scientific standards, I'm supposed to be able to, under your own laws, I'm supposed to be able to. Who's the person I'm supposed to contact? Because everyone is pointing the fingers at somebody else. And then you put this woman in charge of verification of
excuse me for just a couple minutes.
Whatever you call it, when they verify laboratory quality assurance. They put her in charge of quality assurance. And she's like, oh my God, this is horrible. And I just spoke with her 4 weeks ago, and she's like, yeah, no, they still haven't responded.
Oh, wow.
To her complaint. She filed this. What was the date of this letter?
Wow.
I don't remember the date exactly, but yeah.
And they're just like,
responded.
yeah, thanks, peon. Oh, It's infuriating.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely ridiculous. And then the thing is with that particular case, like I say, there's no cell phone data that places him there. There's no vehicle data that places him there. There's no eyewitness. There's no video evidence that places him there. None of his fingerprints are at the crime scene. None of his DNA is at the crime scene. The only thing that potentially connects him, other than the fact that the victim has a relationship with his ex-girlfriend, is one speck of DNA in the back of his truck.
Trace DNA, right? Trace DNA.
Trace DNA. Well, no. According to them, it appeared to be blood, and I can say as a matter of scientific certainty that it appeared to be blood. That's how she testified. They didn't test it for blood, by the way. And then they said they got a partial profile from the DNA, which is consistent with the partial profile of the victim that we have, because remember, they don't have a body. And so it's consistent, a partial DNA profile is consistent with another partial DNA profile. And they say, but given the quality of the DNA profile, it wasn't touch DNA. It had to have been some sort of bodily fluid. Well, if you look at Tiffany Roy's letter, she's like, there's absolutely no way that she should have been able to say that, because you can't, because you didn't test for it.
Yeah.
You didn't test to see if it was bodily fluid. Therefore, you can't say that it was.
Yeah.
And
that's wild.
But that's absolutely what he was convicted on.
Wow.
In my opinion, I think. But if you want to get in touch with anyone involved in that case, I can make that happen. Because I know what's her name is that worked on the Rittenhouse case, is helping with the appeal.
Oh, Natalie?
Yeah, Natalie. Yes.
Oh,
I
nice.
keep wanting to say Natalie Portman, but I can't remember her last name. Natalie
Wisco. Natalie Wisco. Natalie
yes,
Wisco,
thank you.
yeah.
Natalie Wisco. Yeah, she's helping.
She's
with that
awesome.
case.
I love her.
So if you've got her contact information, she's heading up the appeal. I know they just filed the request for an extension.
Way.
Yeah.
Okay,
So she's
I will
working on the
totally
appeal.
reach out to her.
Yeah, reach out to her and she'll give you all the info. But this is
Awesome.
Solomon is Zach's brother. He's in the chat.
Yeah.
He's been on the stream before and done some stuff. I'm working on a documentary,
I've
so
seen him
I got to go visit him a couple of weeks ago. Him and his little boy and his father and stuff over at Zach's house, and we toured around Kenosha a bit.
So Zach is in prison, I assume.
He is in prison. He is on the other side of the state, from what I gather, 3 hours away from any of his family.
Wow.
But yeah, it's kind of sad.
That's a bummer.
And
yeah, Natalie's awesome.
I love
Natalie's
Natalie.
cool. Yeah, she used to come on and stream with us about it, and then all of a sudden she got the Court of Appeals case, or the appellate case, and she's like, "Yeah, I can't really stream about it anymore."
Yeah, that will put a damper in it.
Yeah. But all right, so Jeff, have any interest in ever being on stream with you? Does Jeff have any interest?
I don't know, honestly.
My wife has
kind
no
of
interest
neat
in being on any of these streams.
Well, but these two work together, right? They have a legal practice, or had a legal practice together. So it'd be interesting to have them kind of come at a case together online. That'd be cool.
I need to get a message out, and if everyone in chat, and everyone on panel could help me out here. We need Emily D. Baker on a Lego stream, because that's the only way my wife said that she would ever come on a Lego stream with me, is if Emily D. Baker.
Okay, yes. I will work on that for you.
Yes, Wendy does sound a lot like me today. Wendy is sick, and unfortunately, I think she was in chat for a minute. I should have put red lipstick on. I didn't think about that. Oh,
you
in
failed
honor of
miserably.
Wendy, I should have put lipstick on. I am way behind in chat. Hey, you got another member chat.
Danny T for 2-month membership says Andrea is the best thing about this stream. I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. She doesn't exactly have stiff competition when it comes to the best part of this stream.
Stop.
DK Cripple for 5-month membership says, "Look at that, 5 whole months. Woo! Hell yeah!"
Oh, sorry.
She's another one that's into combat sports. She does jiu-jitsu.
Oh, nice. Nice.
I've been staring at these parts, at this bag I opened, trying to find the first set of parts, and I opened up the wrong bag. So now I finally realized that, and so I opened the right bag, and now I'm sifting through twice as many Lego to find the pieces. So this will be good.
That a boy.
Mm-hmm.
Torin says, for $5, says, "At least you didn't wait until the stream to start, Andrea. Braiding plan is uncivil, Aussie overlord, and then you. So maybe by Christmas." Oh, that's awesome. You're getting a Torin braid? I'm jealous.
Yeah. I can't wait. I'm excited.
I offered to buy one, and he's like, no.
Ian showed me his. Yeah.
He's done the Lego stream, obviously. He actually did 2, technically, but he puts ungodly amounts of hours in those things.
Oh, it looks like it. I mean, it's very it's very labor intensive.
I saw last week he finally finished the one that he's been working on since he's been on our Lego stream, which was like a month and a half ago.
That blue and yellow one?
Yeah, and I know he was working on it for quite a while before then even too. So it does take some time apparently. I can't remember how much time he says it takes, but when I asked him like how much if I wanted to buy one, I'll just pay you for it. He's like, it's about $3,000. Oh
yeah, I believe it.
Material
I just want to
time,
tie. I want one I can tie, and wear to court. I think that'd be awesome.
That would be cool.
I can't justify a $3,000 tie though. Sorry,
nah.
John.
You're not making that Bronco money, buddy.
I am not.
I have to get new taillights for my car. So I drive a Subaru BRZ. I drive this super fun little sports car. And back in the day, I had all kinds of dreams of like modding it up and taking it to the track and things like that. But it's just like life happened. That never went anywhere. But so I'm looking at like the really fancy taillights that people will get, to put on a car like this. It blows my mind. It blows my mind how much people will pay for a taillight. It's unbelievable. A nice Valenti taillight is like $1,200 for a taillight.
My uncle is a jeweler, and I get all my stuff made at his place. I was in there the other day, and I saw these pearls, and I said, tell me about Mikimoto pearls. Like, are they is there like a quality to them? Or, like if I buy a string of Mikimoto pearls, what am I buying? And she's like, the lady working there, she's like, you're just buying a name. I'm like, I can't justify $5,000 for a name,
For a name.
Yeah, just as good quality pearls or anything else. Really. But that's why I was like, I don't need to buy the name brand stuff.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Well, that's a cool car. Look at that thing.
Oh, it's rad. Cool. It's so fun. It's a cool really car. Light car. Like it's just a little 4-cylinder engine. It's not like crazy horsepower or anything like that, like maybe 250 horsepower, but it's light. It's like a 1,200-pound car. So it's like driving a go-kart out on the road, but with all your safety features.
If I was to imagine in my mind the car that you drive, that's kind of perfect. That's kind of what I would hope I'd pick up.
All right.
So Torin wants to know, have you heard about Ian Runkle's challenge to firearm matching experts?
No. What's he doing?
He's raising money to do a competition where he wants to, I can't remember the number of rounds, but he wants to present them a certain number of rounds, and only one of them is actually fired from the gun, and say identify it and you can win this money. And he wants to offer him like a ridiculous enough money that someone will actually pick up the challenge.
Yeah.
And so I've done the Amber Heard pledge for him, and so he can make that happen. But that would be amazing if someone actually took it. Yeah.
I think
that would be
Bronca
awesome.
Actually, was going to put money in for that too, if I remember correctly. But Runkle said there was a lot of like minutia details involved in that still had to be worked out.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, there's got to be. I mean, with that amount of money and to do this legitimately to the point where you could actually. I mean, I would hope that he'd want to be able to use this in court to start discrediting these things. You gotta want to do this the right way and not just do it sort of fly by night, like, oh, it's a little YouTube prank sort of thing. Like, no, this is going to be a real, sort of challenge test of your abilities here.
Sure.
And so I think that was his actual idea, is to do this for real, to try to combat some of this shenanigans in the tool marking testimony. Natalie Wisco, aka the Wolf.
The Wolf.
Yeah, we need Emily.
Fire Red, how you doing, man? I'd love to have Emily on.
Does this go like that? What? What?
Will you fill Andrea in on Natalie being friends with one of Zach's trial attorneys? I don't know anything about that. Yes, I should.
Yeah, the female. She went to law school with the female.
Nicole. Okay.
I'm friends with her on
she
Facebook.
Had known. Yeah, I knew that she had known somebody on the team. Right. I didn't know who it was.
It's Nicole Mueller.
Which, by the way, I think if anyone was to do the closing, it should have been Nicole. It should not have been. I understand that he's more versed and knowledgeable and higher up in the ranking in the law firm, that one guy. And whatever good you want to say about him, he is not the one that did the majority of the questioning of the witnesses. He is not the one that did the majority of the FaceTime in front of the jury. He is not the one that built up a rapport with the jury. And it should have been her giving the closing and not that other guy. That's all I'm going to say about that. I know it's trial strategy and it is what it is, but I don't think that was the best call.
As they say, hindsight is 20/20.
Oh, yeah, no, I saw it that day. When they walked in and he stood up to give the closing, I was like, this is bad. You go back to my live stream and see that. I was like, this is going to be bad. He should not be doing this. $2 super chat for you.
MLS wear red lipstick for the rest of the stream. I'm sure that never mind.
My wife's out of town. She took all of her lipstick. I'm sorry, Zach.
Dave wears pink anyway.
Yeah, that's right. Is Dave off his Lego game tonight? I am, because I only have like a 500 piece set, but I'm pulling double duty tonight.
He is. Yeah. I feel like I have this really unfair advantage that I'm not taking advantage of at all.
Yeah. Jung wants to know, can you explain the beautiful artwork in your background?
So this is, like I said, my friend Heidi Elkington. Check her out on Instagram, Heidi Elkington. She is absolutely amazing. I've got her account linked on my channel. If you go to my About page, she's there too. So she did these. These are metal. She, cut them and painted them and did amazing things with them. And she just does all kinds of incredibly cool art. She has gone with me to some of the Kohberger hearings, and she's done courtroom sketching in there. So she has an absolutely amazing Instagram, and she's actually out at a show right now. Big thing. We have Art in the Park here, they call it.
Well,
can we order some of her? I always say Cronenberg because that's how I say it. But can we order some of her courtroom sketches from Brian's
I'm
case?
sure. Yeah, just DM her.
Okay.
She's
right.
She's awesome.
And by the way, Andrea's channel is, if you don't know, it's in the description on both mine and Valhalla's channel on this stream. So just go down to the description and you can find Andrea's page. And if you're not subbed to her, I don't know where you've been and why you haven't, or why you're not.
Right?
You need to go do that. But she's way better at this whole talking law stuff than I am. I don't even do it anymore.
Our friend Dave here has been retired from YouTube, I think, 3 different times now.
Yeah.
I have been. I've branched out. It's like when you retire from something and then you still kind of like, you do the odd jobs every now and again. That's what I'm doing. This is one of those, I'll show up today and do a little bit of streaming.
Yeah,
but
I get it.
Since February, I haven't really streamed much at all. And then my channel got shut down by YouTube.
I saw that. What happened with that?
So there's a channel called What the Hales, and
yes, you got taken down by that.
Yeah, I got taken down by that. I got 3 copyright claims. The first one, the first one I did use part of his video, but it's under fair use because I offer commentary. I put text and stuff. My text was, is he using an anti-harassment order to harass? Right? And then so the second one was only video that the other person, the other neighbor took. She filmed it. So he doesn't own it. But I used that, and he claimed that one. And then, so that's my 2 strikes. And I'm arguing with YouTube, and YouTube's like, well, we don't know. You can go sue them and then let us know how that goes.
Oh,
and then at one point, he had a phone call that he recorded with the Levy County Sheriff down there. It was a phone call, on his end. He's got it on speaker. Someone's filming him doing it. And so I got the copy from the Levy County Sheriff's side of the phone call because apparently they record all of their phone calls. And he had edited his, and so I put the whole phone call in. And I put the entire phone call.
Big mad. You made him big mad.
And he copyright claimed it and tagged the video where he played his side of the phone call. And I said, it's not. This is from Levy County. And I did a whole thing, and I did a comparison where he cut his out, and I went over to my version of it, and I said, you can tell by the voices that he's not in the room on the other one. Anyways, YouTube was like, well, sorry, you go fight it out in court and come back and tell me how that went. Otherwise, we're going to take your channel down. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's what happened. But it's okay. It gave me an opportunity to do this separate channel, which is Lego Law, as opposed to the MLS channel. And then I have a third channel that I don't advertise that I stream a bunch of stuff on. So it was nice. It was an opportunity to sort of bifurcate the things that I do.
Yeah. Well, a good way to look at it.
And then, because I had a troll account called God of Law that I would hop in some law tubers channels every once in a while and chat as, God of Law. And I was like, I'll just put MLS in front of it. And so that channel got up and running.
Nice.
Yeah. So, I don't know where I was going, where that started with, but I was talking about something else, and I said before it was taken down.
Yeah, I had just asked about your takedown because
Okay.
you retired. We were talking about you've retired multiple times.
That's it.
Well, okay, but before that, I was streaming the Jennifer Crumbly case. And that's actually why I started streaming, was the James and Jennifer Crumbly case. Those were the parents of the Oxford school shooter.
Okay.
And because that's local to me, and I didn't think the charges should have been brought. And so I started streaming about that in the first place. And then when Jennifer's case ended in like mid-February, I had really good numbers and views. It just wasn't I was taking too much time out of my real work, and it wasn't financially viable. And I was like,
sure.
There was some other stuff going on. Like all of a sudden there were people that were listening to me, and what I had to say was always right. And so that started bleeding into real life. And I was like, this isn't going to be good. So I was like, you know what? I'm retiring. I'm done. I can't do this. It's affecting my real life, and this is fun, but I got to quit. So I officially retired in February. And then the channel was taken down, I think, in April.
Huh.
So, but yeah, so I stream every once in a while. But I understand the idea of like, I don't want to stream some things. Like people will, but I also understand the idea of sort of, you don't want to disappoint the chat. I still have my Discord up, and a lot of people are in there saying, oh, we would love to hear your take on this or that. And I'll try to hop on to other people's streams because I don't want to do a whole stream myself about it. Just one, I don't have the time, and I don't really have that much to say, but I don't want to let people down either. So it's a weird situation to be in.
I totally get it.
And Valhalla doesn't care. He just disappears for months at a time.
Yes, I do.
Which is a great way to do it.
It's usually
I kind of did that.
Success.
I kind of did that. I was off for like 6 months, I think, before Karen Reed. Just before, I'd done the Kohberger, and that was pretty much about it.
You got a super chat from Nick Starov.
I just broke my set. Runkle's challenge is 5 bags with 20 rounds in each. There can be 0 to 5 rounds that matches the gun, and the expert won't know beforehand.
Okay. There you go. That's he's got a better idea of the challenge. It's a really interesting challenge, and I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
I think there was at least 5, maybe 6 figures involved with that challenge, though, if I remember correctly.
So Stray wants to know, what is your craziest in or out of court experience you're willing to share? He.
I gotta think of what I can't. I gotta sort through the ones I can share. It's the ones I can't. I gotta filter those, come right to the top, and gotta filter those ones out.
It's the best excuse us attorneys have is like, I can't talk about that as attorney-client.
A crazy experience. Boy, crazy is so relative when you're a lawyer. It's hard to define what crazy is. Like, I've never had like anyone attack me in court or anything like that. Like nothing crazy in that sort of sense. It's mostly just been, sort of funny, strange behavior. I had this witness, this one case, and it was this wild case. This was in Dayton, Washington, which is a little town of about 3,000 people. And it's the county seat. It's the largest town in that county. And I was a public defender there for a while. And I had this case where this guy, my client, who is, he's like 5'4" and strappy like a logger, but like a little guy. And he got in a fight with this blind man who was like, what? I don't know, 6'8" or something. This giant, like probably 280 pounds, and he had this cane. And so the story was this guy comes at my client with this cane, and he's like trying to beat him with the cane. And so my client punches him in the mouth. and it knocks out his tooth. Well, my client ends up getting charged with a felony over this because he knocks the tooth out. So we take this case to trial, and we get this witness there on the stand, and the prosecutor is going to show photographs of his injuries. And so she has the picture, like, he's like holding his lips up. So the cop could take a nice picture of his teeth. And these are some of the greenest, like furriest teeth it looks like you could just breathe hard on this guy and his teeth will fall out. Okay, so like if the idea was my client used all this force on him or something like that, it really it did not work. But it was honestly stomach turning. So they have little fun moments like that. I don't know how thrilling that is.
The story started
but...
the best way. So there's this blind guy, and
so we basically went to trial on the blind guy deserved it defense, and got him off with a misdemeanor because of his green teeth. That was a good day in Columbia County.
That's awesome. It's the kind of county I want to live in.
It was quite an experience. That place was one where you really got to see, like, I've always kind of seen crime as a class type of thing. Like it's an underclass that's created, but it's also like self-perpetuating. So many of these habits just they pass down through families all these different ways and stuff. And you would see that in action in a place like Dayton. There was one point in time where I represented 3 generations of the same family all at the same time, like all with their drug stuff. So you got a whole different insight into how those kinds of things work in that kind of environment.
Yeah, I have to backtrack significantly.
You're going to lose Valhalla.
I totally screwed this up. I got to backtrack a lot. Sorry.
I had a case that when you're going through and there's like a lot of parties in a case and you're trying to make sure that you've got them all identified and the relationships between them. We had some parties that were hyphenated. So we had like grandpa dad and uncle father. And,
oh boy.
It was that kind of situation.
Oh boy.
Well, because the one guy was the legal father, but biological grandfather. And then we had legal stepbrother, but biological father. And
that's not as weird when you explain it.
Yeah. But so that's how those kind of cases, those are fun. That's what you get with a lot of, when you talk about generational stuff.
When the family tree is a hedge.
Exactly. That's great.
Oh my god, what is happening?
What'd you do, Valhalla?
Something shattered, and now I don't know how it's supposed to go back together.
I'm trying to get caught up on chat. Oh, Sullivan wants to know how the Zachary Anderson documentary. It is going. It is going well. I am on. Well, Solomon, you kind of know the stage that I've put together already. The next phase, I actually have some additional interviews that I'm doing, and but I'll let you know what's up. Not on stream. Dave is technically from the Midwest. He's just doing Midwest retirement instead of Midwest goodbye. Yeah, there you go.
I like it.
Exactly.
Midwest retirement. It's good.
It's exactly. Oh, I'm so far behind on chat. Let's see here.
I think I lost a piece.
Okay.
Dave has a Discord. I do have a Discord. Jung runs my Discord, by the way, so you guys can all talk to Jung. I'm coming out of retirement for Boone. I'm going to try to make that happen.
You're going to watch Boone?
I so want to watch Boone. I actually have a media pass for that court. Myself and Steve Gosney are both under the MLS media conglomerate, and we have our media passes.
I forgot about that.
So that's awesome. Did you also retire because Jennifer Crumbly's verdict made you sad a little bit? Honestly, no, really, it wasn't. It was extremely frustrating. I could tell you that it was extremely frustrating, and it wasn't the first time that I was frustrated with the outcome of a case. And I kind of didn't want to sit through another case with a frustrating outcome. That was part of it. But then I ended up streaming James Crumbly's case, kind of, sort of. I would stream it live, but I wouldn't offer live commentary, and then I'd do sort of a wrap up or sort of a update sort of stream.
What happened with that
so
case?
They both were guilty.
They both got convicted. Yeah.
Yeah, stupid.
What did they get sentenced to? Do you know?
Yeah, they got 15 to 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
Tell
For
Andrea
something that
about the
they didn't
micro
do.
penis.
Which micro
What?
penis?
What?
I had a defense to a criminal case once, which was micro penis.
Oh, that's right.
defense.
That's right.
This guy was accused. My client was accused of self-diddling in a Home Depot parking lot.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm like, okay, well, it's not the strangest thing that I've heard. Take on the case. And I never waive preliminary examinations. I always.
Uh-huh.
And so we held the preliminary examination, and the only person they call is the eyewitness, the guy in the truck that took the picture and called the police. Now, I will tell you, so my guy's story is that he was at a Culver. No, he was at something. He was like at an ice cream shop or something. I don't know. Driving down the road, and all of a sudden the police pull him over and arrest him. That's his side of the story.
Mm-hmm.
And so apparently what happened, at least according to the testimony, no, there was one officer that was testified to. The guy, the witness saw someone in a vehicle self-manipulating and took a picture of it because that's what you do. And then called the police. As one does, right? And then called the police. And then apparently the guy who was self-manipulating left, and the witness tried to sort of follow him and coordinate the police, but they lost visual of him. And then all of a sudden the police saw, oh, there's the car, and pulled him over and charged my guy. So there wasn't like a full thing. But anyway, so, there wasn't like a continuous, visual contact with the perpetrator. So we have the preliminary examination, and the witness gets on the stand and testifies as to what he saw. And he testifies in oddly detail, and like size and what's going on and all this stuff. And so my client turns to me and he's like, it's impossible. That couldn't have been me. And I was like, well,
oh my God.
Why? And he's out. We're out in the hallway. He pulls me aside. We're out in the hallway. His mother's there. He's like, this is so embarrassing. Like, my mom's here and everything. I'm like, we can have her step away. And he's like, no. He's like, I have a micro penis. And his mom's like, oh, I knew that, And I'm like, oh. So that was our defense. Was that it could not have been him based on the testimony. This is why you never waive the preliminary examination. The state is not locked in on that story, and it couldn't have been my guy because he has an innie.
Did he have to show it?
No.
We ended up put up or shut up.
No, we ended up getting his doctor and and medical records and stuff.
Wow.
So we didn't have to show it, but that didn't go to trial. Needless to say, case charges were dismissed against him. But that was our micro penis defense.
Well, that is some fine work right there, counsel.
Well, so the thing is I use this as an example as to why you never waive the preliminary examination, because now the state's locked in onto their story and their testimony. And two, if you're being represented by an attorney, tell them everything. Don't be embarrassed.
Yes,
if I had known that ahead of time, I could have got it dismissed at the preliminary exam.
Yeah.
But instead we had to, he was, of course, bound over on felony charges, and we had to go to the next stage. So be honest with your attorney and never waive the preliminary exam.
It's attorneys and doctors. Everybody lies to their attorney and to their doctor. It's the craziest thing.
Now,
Yeah.
in addition to being part of the Michigan State public record, it's also all over YouTube several times. So there's that.
Okay. Any backlash for crowdfunding for releasing the Deputy Heard transcripts?
Oh, it was wild. That was a whole wild ride for a while because this was when the media was just going nuts. Like spinning all this stuff, trying to sort of start this story that has continued, that somehow like social media had to do with the outcome of the trial. Like, well, no, it's just a reflection of what we were all watching unfold in front of our eyes. But so the unsealing was just a little bit crazy because of all the attention it got. I mean, I had I think Rolling Stone tried to write a hit piece about me, like, but there's like, I mean, I'm serious, guy. Like, I live a very quiet life. Like, there's not, I'm an appellate lawyer, for heaven's sakes. Like, from legal perspectives, like, it's hard to have a more public record than I have. Like, if you want to know my cases, you can look them up, very, very easily. So it was they were kind of sad, like, attacks at
what were they saying about you? What were they trying to say about you?
Just that, you know how it is, like, just trying to paint you out like you're just this grifter, or like trying to imply that, I don't know, this was a profit making thing, which they couldn't, like, because we donated all, everything that came in extra, we donated to Children's Hospital of Los Angeles and Art of Elysium. So they did try to make a thing about that. Why didn't you give any money to the ACLU? I didn't answer any of that. But
who cares about the ACLU?
The ACLU is doing just fine, and honestly, in hindsight, I would give it all to Art of Elysium, but I didn't think of that at the time.
That's funny. I didn't know there was all this backlash against you.
I didn't either, to be honest.
I mean, it wasn't really that big of a deal, from my standpoint. It was just crazy to see. Like,
I enjoy the haters and the trolls. I find it funny. It's not my, YouTube is a newish thing for me, but I'm not adverse, or this isn't my first experience with we'll say
you've been online before.
Well, I've been online before, but I mean, I sued the governor, I sued a church, I've sued the county. I've had my name's been in the paper a few times, and I've gotten so much awesome hate mail in like actual like typed out mail sent to me. I put it on the refrigerator. It's awesome. This is all before YouTube. So if you guys think you're like gonna come at me on YouTube or some sort of internet on X and say all this stuff, or Facebook, I'm like, I don't care. I've heard way worse, and I just find it really entertaining. But Wanda wants to know where you got your shirt from. It is beautiful.
Kohl's, I think.
Kohl's. Are you sure you're not a mom? That was like the most mom thing to say.
It was a very mom thing to say, and I'm definitely not a mom. I don't even remember why I was there. I think I was looking. Sometimes I go and get stuff for my hair at those places, and they're really good, like, for like sneakers, just like, just casual shoes and whatever. But I saw this shirt and I thought it was cute, so I got it.
Has anyone heard from Steve? I saw his post. I don't know what that is.
Steve
Gosney?
Yeah, I talked to him recently. He's doing good. Family's doing good. The city of Miami is a good place for him, I think.
Yeah, he's hanging out, getting up and running at work, and he's doing his thing. He's doing good. Yeah. He'll be back to streaming soon enough. Maybe not as intently, because I don't think he has time to write books even right now. You know how it is when you start a new job. You kind of throw everything into it, and
everything goes a little crazy for a while.
Let's see.
It's been a long time since I started a new job.
Oh my God, the chat's still talking about the micro penis. I've got to get caught up. All right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to jump to current in the chat, because I don't even know how far I am behind. If you posted a question or something and I didn't get to it, repost it. All right, I'm gonna try. Oh wait, will you please crowdfund the sidebar of Reed? That's gonna be amazing. The sidebar.
Oh yeah, right.
Are you gonna do that? Are you gonna sidebar that or crowdfund that?
I hadn't thought about it, but that's not a terrible idea, is it?
I'd like to know what they said, actually.
Yeah, a lot of those. I'd be very curious to know what they said.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. You're just gonna do it, right? I mean, you have to.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'm stuck now.
I'm gonna wait for Andrea to do it and then just borrow her material.
There you go.
That's the way to do it. I mean, that was one of the things that I think that's what pissed people off, like the media people, and made them want to come at me is the fact that I published everything. Because I just, I'm not anybody's lawyer. I'm not there to hide what's going on or anything. I mean, come on, we're all watching a case here, and it seems like it would be interesting to know what was going on and all that unsealed stuff.
So
it's like they didn't like that. They took that personally or something.
Weird what happens when you out the corruption and the hush-hush parts of trial work.
Crazy, yeah.
All right, so Wolf wants to know what we are all making. I am making the Tyrannosaurus Rex skull from Jurassic World. And Andrea is making, what are you making again?
I am making Himeji Castle, and I'm making some progress here.
Oh, you're doing
good.
good.
It's coming along, yeah.
Yeah.
And I am doing
Valhalla
Hogwarts Castle from Harry Potter.
And how far along are you, sir? Are you going to finish this stream?
Probably not.
No. So we're gonna go 4 streams for you to finish.
Excuse me, it would be 3. And actually, we don't have another one scheduled, so I would probably just do it to get it out of the way.
We don't have another one scheduled. I can't schedule one until like almost near the end of August, as it is. So I think August 17th
for August.
I don't think so.
You did.
No,
you gave me 3 weekends in August that I already offered somebody.
But it's the end of August, right?
Hold on. Let me figure this out.
I hope so.
I don't think it was. I think it was like that's an easier way to check.
Okay. Let's see here.
As a matter of fact, I need to reach back out to him because I haven't heard from him in a minute. But,
so the 3rd I can't do it. The 10th I can't.
Oh, you're right.
Do it.
17th, 24th, and 31st for the dates.
Yeah, it was the last 3 in August. That's what I thought. I thought I was.
You were right.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was an earlier one that I couldn't do, I think. Or maybe that was.
Oh, Torrin sent me his current build. Let's see this. Let's check this out. His stuff is awesome. Let's see. I gotta share my screen.
Meme, what's up, buddy? Himeji Castle is about an hour away from me, so I recognized it pretty quick. That's pretty awesome.
So here's Torrin's current build.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's very cool.
That's amazing.
I like that one. I'm partial to green and yellow, for tie purposes, just saying. Meme Copium is in the chat.
He is.
Hey, there you go. An hour away.
He lives in Japan.
He does. Meme Copium has an everything channel and a travel channel. And his travel channel apparently has way more subs than his just random rant channel. But that's where I know him from.
The travel or the regular rant channel?
The regular rant channel.
Okay.
The one where he always privates the streams at the end of it.
Well, that's because he has Max Murrah on them, and you can't leave anything with Max on it public.
Well, and then we put it in our intro. What's that say about us?
We make poor life choices, I think, is what it means.
We do. Well, I didn't put the dominoes in the intro. That was one thing I wasn't going to do. Max had a bin full of Lego, and he was just sort of like building random things and pulling it out during his stream with us. But then he had other things like domino, and then he was making all kinds of, we'll just say, probably not the most appropriate shapes with the domino.
I'm sure that's never happened on the Lego stream.
No, never. Wholesome family entertainment. Is Runkle going to be maybe a guest soon? You know, Runkle, he wants to. He's talked about it. We've talked about it. I think it's a timing thing for him.
Runkle has an open invitation, and he's well aware of that. And whenever that,
but I don't want to say like he's like turned us down.
No,
the thing is Saturdays are it's like date night with wife.
Well, if you let me finish my sentence, I was gonna say, whenever he schedules line up, he will make it happen. I have no doubt. There's no no animosity or anything. He'll be on here someday, y'all. Someday. We got a couple of them.
Yeah. So, what are your future plans for your channel, Andrea?
I'm just gonna continue to kind of play it by ear, which is very much not the answer anybody wants. But
it's the answer I want.
You know, plans for the channel, plans sound too serious for what I'm doing.
Yes.
How much research and deep diving do you go into before you go live on a stream?
Well, it depends on the stream and the topic and stuff. But I mean, I like to deep dive. You know, I like to know what I'm talking about, and so that honestly is like one of the biggest impediments to me doing more, because I make the perfect the enemy of the good. You know, so I want to know everything before I open my mouth and say anything at all. It's one of those things that I think it just comes from being an appellate attorney. Call me crazy, but you know, just the very fundamental thing that lawyers do is they look at law. Like, law is not a thing that we imagine in our heads. It is written down somewhere, and you can find it, and then you can cite to it. And this is not supposed to be like a high bar for what it is to do law. And yet, you know, it can be hard to find, like even out in the real world in the courtrooms and stuff. So I like to make sure that, like, okay, if I'm watching a case in Massachusetts, that I've educated myself on, you know, what's the Massachusetts process? What are the things like that? What are the rules? If there's a motion that's being filed that is an interesting motion, I want to look at the cases. Like, I want to see kind of how they're framing this argument and how they're fitting it in and stuff like that. So, yeah, I do tend to overkill a little bit when I decide to take a look at a case.
See that? Yeah, I mean, that's my...
Hang out here a little more. You'll get over it.
But I like to... I mean, that letter from Tiffany Roy going after the DNA expert in Zachariah Anderson's case, you could see all my notes. I'm highlighting stuff, and I'm putting in citations, and that's the stuff that I feel like I need to do before I go live with something. Unless I'm just streaming a trial, I'm just like, well, let's see what happens now. But I'd like to do a little bit more in-depth. That's one of my other things, too. Is I like to have the knowledge, but I don't have the time.
What's the one guy's name? We'll do it live. Fuck it.
Oh,
just do it live. Bill O'Reilly. Fuck it, we'll do it live.
I love it. It's so good.
Oh, there it is.
We'll do it live. Fuck it.
Do it live. There it is.
Somewhere. It was left over from my trial days. Oh no! So many teeth. So many teeth. This thing's kind of looking cool, though. This is the skull. It's coming together. I like this a lot. Oh wait, it's upside down.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah, this is very cool. I will find a way to make it Star Wars, I think.
Just paint it white and black.
What are your thoughts? Okay, Andrea, this question for you. Jung wants to know, what are your thoughts on the prosecutor asking Ashley Benefield to demo her attack? Did you see that?
I haven't watched it yet, so I've heard all about this, and I got behind on Ashley Benefield because I started watching the state's case. And it was a little too Karen Reed for me. I kept waiting for, like, so what's the case? Like, this is a character attack. Where's the case? I understand you don't like her. Where's the case? And So I have not watched the defense case yet. I have heard a lot of commentary about it. So
well, it's one of those things you never ask a question you don't know the answer to.
You don't know the answer to.
And you don't ask the defendant. It's like we're gonna have OJ put the glove on situation.
Yeah.
You don't have them demonstrate unless you know how it's going to go. And it went very bad for the state, in my opinion. Very bad for the state.
Not good.
That's where they ended it. I'll just, without a whole lot of spoilers, we'll just say that she was convincingly crying after reenacting a convincingly traumatic event, and then the state stopped asking questions, and the jury went back for about 15-20 minutes, and that's all they had to think about.
Wow.
So that was bad for the state. All right, let me ask you this. We So Nick Starov and I, we've been streaming Jodi Arias' trial, and we're almost done. We streamed earlier today, and the defense is giving his closing argument. Now, during his closing argument, he says something to the... I'm not going to quote it exactly. You might not like Jodi Arias. There are times when I don't even like her. But they don't have the evidence, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I don't know that that's good. I think it's bad to suggest to the attorney or to the jury that you don't even like your own client.
Your client is super unlikable.
Well, you're supposed to go in there and say you like Sarah Boone, right? Like, is anybody going to believe that at this point? Same with Jodi
I would
Arias.
represent her in a heartbeat.
I'm sure you would. Jodi Arias had done all those stupid interviews and made herself look like an ass way before that courtroom ever took place, right? That trial ever took place. So
Maybe.
I don't. You can't lie.
It was really bad to say. Would you ever have said something like that?
About a client?
Yeah, like in front of a jury. To me, I feel like that could be a grievable offense to say in front of a jury. Like, there's times I don't even like my client. I don't know.
Well, that's probably taking it a little too far. Like, I mean, I understand sometimes you have to acknowledge reality, and if you're going to get anywhere with the jury, you got to lead and pace, right? So you got to meet them where they are, and then you got to help get them to where you want them to be. And if where they are is that they hate your client, it happens. And so I can understand the need to address that. Making it personal might not be the best call. It's just not really necessary.
I guess that's the thing, is he made it personal, right? He's like, yeah, I even hate my client. I can understand the argument, like, you might hate Jodi Arias. You might think she's the worst person in the world, but she's not guilty of this crime. But to make it personal, like,
even I hate her. It's okay. It's all good. We all hate her.
Corin 3 says, Ian says if he and Andrea disagree, he is wrong. That's good luck.
Oh, God.
Nice.
How would Boone fight for Sarah in... Wait, what? How would Boone fight for Sarah in the courtroom? If she was her lawyer. Who's Sarah? I don't get this. What does she argue?
How would she fight for herself?
For herself?
Fight miserable. Sarah.
It's not going to go well. I did see that. Did you guys see that flyer that she drew?
Oh my God,
she
it was
wanted
amazing.
The judge. Wasn't that crazy? Now the hilarious thing is that we have all gotten that letter. Like every lawyer who does criminal defense has gotten that letter. There's like a guy who's been sitting in prison for the last 15 years, and he has sent that letter to like every single person on the bar list, to help him with his post conviction. It'll be great. You'll be famous, and you'll never have to worry about business again. Oh, and by the way, the contingency will be fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. Fox News is interested even. I've got that one. Fox News. Though. You're gonna pass up Fox News?
You have to give her credit, though. The artwork on it was exceptional. And I will stand by that statement. I was very impressed with the layout.
It was very well done. I mean, as such things go, I thought it was definitely top notch,
top tier.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Oh my gosh, guys! I think I'm done with the actual building part.
Outstanding.
And now I just get to build gardens, which is very exciting. That's my favorite part. Look at that. This thing is cool.
It's very cool.
Wow, look at you. You're way ahead of
She's
me.
going to beat me. I'm just opening up my last box.
Well, I did cheat, so.
All right. Well, as long as you're comfortable admitting it, I'll roll with it.
Is it cheating? I don't think it's cheating if you admit to it.
Yes, it is still cheating. Yeah, I do steroids. And
tell every criminal that ever.
It was an accident. It was unintentional. How did she say it? It wasn't intentional. That's how she said it.
It wasn't intentional.
God.
It wasn't intentional.
Every time she said that, I just keep thinking second degree murder.
Yeah. I don't think you understand how the law works, lady. Did Andrea follow the Scott Peterson case? If so, thoughts on appeal.
Oh gosh, so I only followed the Scott Peterson case way back in the day, and so my memory is a little murky on that one now. But I did take a look at the post conviction stuff that he was doing, and honestly, it wasn't impressive. I didn't think it was particularly compelling. Yeah, no, the DNA, it's not an issue in this case. It doesn't change the sort of fundamentals of why the suspicion was on him.
You know what I don't like?
That killed all of his wives?
No, this is the guy
just
that
the one wife.
Just the one wife. Got it.
Just the one.
What I don't like is okay, so he's driving to when they arrest him initially, they say he's on his way fleeing to Mexico with a bag of cash.
Yeah.
And the problem is that he wasn't going to Mexico. It sounds like he was going to his dad's place, and he was giving cash to his dad to purchase some equipment or whatever the hell they were doing. Like, he had legitimate reasons for having the money that he had and doing the things that he was doing, but they totally used it against him. And I hate when the state does that, and I think that should be an automatic acquittal whenever they do that, because I hate when they use this innocent, random acts and say, oh well, you must have been running to Mexico with cash, because why else would you have all this? And you could think of like a million other reasons.
Like a million reasons. Yeah.
Didn't they say that for the Crumblies too?
They said it for the Crumblies. They said it for Zachariah Anderson. They said it for everyone. They always use it.
They always say that. It's a fairly common tactic. All the consciousness of guilt stuff. They love their consciousness of guilt.
Yeah, it's a cop out. It's a cheap way to get points in a criminal conviction, and I absolutely hate it. And I don't think it should be allowed in. Is it relevant? At the end of the day, is it relevant to prove the truth of the matter asserted? Does it have any tendency to prove a fact more or less likely? Right? I mean, that's.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't see it. Confession, sure. Short of that, no. I'm sure I'm missing a bunch of questions.
We're just going to ignore all these little extra pieces I've accumulated over here.
Yeah. Just set those aside. Yeah, set those aside.
Don't worry about those.
What other cases did you follow way back when? Besides,
well, I mean, it started with OJ, which I couldn't follow that close because I was in high school at the time. But that was.
It's like 94.
God, what year did it come back? Yeah, 95, 96.
Okay.
And I remember the Casey Anthony trial. We had a couple big ones in Washington. One of the ones that I was interested in up here was Jeremy Sagastigi, which nobody's ever heard of because it didn't go to trial. It was a case where he pled guilty and then basically fought to get the death penalty. He wanted to, like most states, Washington has all of these automatic collateral appeals and things like that happen with capital cases, and he wanted to waive all of that. and it was like surprisingly difficult for him to be able to do that. But he did ultimately, and so he was executed, and I went to the prison for that execution, and I'm trying to think what other.
I was watching an execution.
Oh, I didn't watch the execution. Yeah, I didn't watch the execution. Bro. I was just there for protest.
She said, "Oh, you went there for the protest."
Yeah,
I thought you said you went there for the execution, like you went and watched the execution.
Not to watch it. Yeah,
ask about that.
Yeah, you could ask. You could definitely ask if I had.
Faces of Death. Anyone remember that?
But we don't have the death penalty here anymore, so that won't be an option. Not in Washington.
I've watched autopsies. Those are creepy.
Those are creepy. Those are very creepy.
Just like the nonchalantness that the medical examiner just sort of like do. And it was like just the finality of life. Like the medical examiner's telling us about this guy. He's like, yeah, yesterday this guy, he got up, kissed his wife and kids goodbye, went to work, died on the floor of the assembly plant at GM, and we're gonna cut him open and see what killed him.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, he's got a wife and kids at home. What are you doing?
It is very nonchalant.
But and then he'd pull things out and he's like, well, he's a smoker. You could tell right here. And it was just. And then, do you know they don't put the first of all, the brain doesn't go back in the body.
No.
Never.
None of the soft tissues do.
Well, no, they do. They go into a garbage bag after they empty the fluids into individual plastic cups, kind of like Solo cups. And then they throw everything back into a garbage bag and then just like throw it in the cavity in like one stitch. And it's like, all right, off to the funeral home. They'll take care of the rest. It's like, no. I never want an autopsy.
Yeah.
I was just surprised at how much fat people have.
That was crazy. Too.
It's crazy. So much fat.
Yeah. That was actually kind of, now that you bring it up. No, now I'm ashamed of myself. I'm going to go back to the gym.
I have a really gross story that I've never told. So it wasn't about me, right? I had a middle school health teacher. This woman had like everything that you can imagine happen. She had somehow in her life, it had come up, right?
Uh-huh.
She was doing the cadavers in college, and apparently the professor that was teaching the class, everybody hated, like immensely hated this individual. And I can't swear to the truth of the matter, but apparently one of the students had used human fat and replaced the cheese in her sandwich at some point.
Oh, yikes.
Like I said, I can't swear to the authenticity, but she told that story to a group of 5th grade health class, so that was fun.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Was the sandwich finished? No, you know what? I don't want to.
Oh, gross.
Why did I ask that?
I don't believe so.
But the important question is, what kind of jam did she use?
Yeah, the important question.
It was some kind of.
The kind of jam goes with human fat.
Oh, it was some kind of cheese.
I feel like a pear. Pear would go well.
Pear would be good.
Oh,
yeah.
Could you imagine taking a bite out of that? Oh
no.
My God. And
no.
She had to
it's in my head now. I'm going to bed with it. Thanks.
That a boy. There you go.
Well, do you guys ever think about, like, if you had to, like you sail and stuff like that? You think about you get stuck out there on the ocean. You gotta get near alive. Would you eat the people?
Oh, I would definitely. Eat the
so
1,000%. Yes, I would eat the people.
And who it is, assuming there's a random stranger that's paid to be on my boat, that would be the ideal situation.
That's definitely the ideal situation.
The other thing is I learned this in law school. Don't talk about it. You don't talk about it. You get back to shore, you don't talk about it. You remember that case from law school?
Yeah.
I don't know if they. Yeah. Those
it was
sailors,
like an English. It was the English case. Yeah.
Yeah, and they. It was I can't remember why
that
we
was
learned
their
about
mistake,
the case.
was just mentioning what happened to Johnny or whatever.
Yeah, and they're like, we all know what happened. We all know that you killed and ate this guy to stay alive. We know that. And
I
if
think I
you
remember
hadn't
this
talked
case.
about it, we wouldn't have charged you. But you talked
Yeah.
about it, man. You talked about it, and so now you're all going to
Yeah.
prison.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm the first day we're out of food. I'm thinking ahead.
He's starting to
Listen.
eyeball. He's starting to check people's tenderness.
It's just
Yeah,
gonna
Doran's
get
got-
leaner and tougher after that. You know what I'm saying?
It's true. It's true. Yeah.
Yeah, don't self-snitch. Don't self-snitch. Yeah, I can't remember what the legal principle. So, if you guys don't know, in law school, they give you these cases, and some of them could be really old, and some of them could be fairly new. But you're supposed to kind of learn a theory of law from these cases, and I can't remember what the theory was that we were supposed to be
Yeah, I
learning
don't
from that
remember what
case.
the theory was because the takeaway is just don't snitch, never snitch.
Yeah, essentially it was don't self-snitch. I think the idea was like, listen, there's some like things that are just wrong in general, sort of like melum, insane, right? But we
Yes.
understand that there are certain circumstances in which someone could be driven to it. Like, obviously, we don't want to unalive people, but if it's in self-defense, it's excusable kind of idea. But because they talked about it, they ended up getting charged anyways, and I can't remember why that was a particular issue. That
It was probably like a necessity, or duress type of case.
Oh, if he had died naturally and they ate him, then the act of eating a dead body would have been less severe than you dying, and therefore it would have been acceptable. But because you unalived him intentionally, maybe that's what it was. I can't remember, but the takeaway that I got was don't talk about it.
Don't self-snitch.
Yeah, don't self-snitch. That's all I got out of it.
Listen,
That's a
chat,
great
if
case.
we're going camping or on a boat, bring extra Snickers. That's all I'm telling
Yes.
you. Just bring enough.
Yes, that was a real
Skittles,
case.
man.
They were
Skittles.
three or four sailors survived on a raft, and one of them was they drew straws, and the guy who was killed knew he was going to get killed because he literally got the short straw.
Yeah, it was.
And
their
then
deal.
they were rescued, and the thing is like, so they killed this guy and they ate him, and they were rescued like 2 days later, and they absolutely could have survived without killing this guy.
Yeah.
And eating him. But it was
they
a real
were
case.
really hungry. They would have had some really nasty arguments before then.
Yeah.
Everybody was being a little bit too snippy. It was for the
They
better
were a bit
good.
hangry.
Yeah, just a bit hangry. I can't remember how long they were out there or what year it was. I feel like it was like the 1800s.
It was 8 hours.
Yeah, I think it was.
It was 8 hours.
I
Yeah,
think
it was 8 hours.
A 3-hour tour. A 3-hour
Yeah, that's a real
tour.
case. Just don't talk about it. Define natural causes. Well, I mean, it could be drowning.
Yeah.
What was the first televised trial in America, not including Adolf Eichmann in 1961? The biggest one that I remember, the first one that I really remember, is OJ.
OJ was the one that kind of changed things, right? OJ was the first one that like nationwide coverage, 24 hours a day, people were invested.
It's what
It
made
was on
court
the
TV
salon.
like a thing.
Yeah.
But I don't remember a trial before that was televised.
I didn't realize
really.
Adolf Eichmann was televised.
I didn't either.
Was it televised?
In
According to the chatter.
1961?
Huh.
Interesting.
That is interesting.
We should do a stream about trials told during law school. So I remember that one. I also remember the one with the train station, the proximate causation case.
Yeah.
I always talk
I can
about
never
that
remember any of the names, but I totally remember the fact patterns.
the fact pattern. Yeah, I have no idea what the name is, but every attorney has heard of like these cases. These are like the cases you learn in first year of law school that establish all these principles. The train station one where the conductor let the guy through, and he had a box of fireworks under his arm, and he fell trying to get on the train, and the fireworks went off and hit a sign, and that whole thing, and caused a sign to fall on a woman. And that was a real case. That's amazing to me. It's like that's a real case. That's just good word. There's a ton of cases that you learn in law school. They're all fun. They're all kind of fun. Well, most of them are.
Yeah, there is a lot. There is a whole lot.
Let's see. 1991, Pamela Smart murder trial. Oh, I forgot about Pamela Smart. Like, I forget the order of these things came out in.
Was that the chick in Europe that like killed her roommate?
No, that was Amanda Knox. And she didn't kill her roommate, but yeah.
That was.
You know, she was convicted in absentia.
Like multiple times. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, so the Italian Court of Appeals exonerated her, and then she was free to go, and she was like, sweet, I'm hopping on a plane back to America. And then, but they brought charges against her again, and she refused to come, and the U.S. refused to extradite her, and so they discharged her in absentia and found her guilty. There's absolutely no way that she's guilty of that crime.
No, there's not. There's not.
I don't remember the details to it at all.
It was just one of these situations where police didn't like how she reacted. They thought she didn't behave the way that somebody in that situation should be behaving, and so therefore it was her. And you know, she had just like come home and found a roommate, you know, traumatically murdered and stuff. Like, I don't know how you're supposed to act after something like that. But yeah, they found some whole guy's DNA and everything. They have the real killer. He's been convicted.
Well, that's
why is she still convicted?
I don't think she is. I think it got overturned. So the very recent thing that had happened was they had sued her for defamation. I'm trying to remember who it was because, well, that's what I'm trying to remember. So when she had been interrogated the first time before she got convicted, it was, you know, one of the coercive interrogation kind of settings, and so eventually she's like, all right, well, it was some, you know, so and so, like she pointed the finger at somebody. Well, all these years later, that person came back then and sued her for defamation for pointing the finger at them during this, you know, coercive interrogation. And apparently in Italy, they don't have litigation privilege, you know, or whatever. So she didn't get to use any of that. And so she got, I mean, it's not convicted, but she was found liable for defamation because of that. It just seems crazy to me.
Yeah,
Europe's got some really bizarre defamation laws.
Look at this thing. This thing is cool.
That thing is cool.
Ooh, that is nice.
I have a lot of pieces left over. I feel like I missed something. Oh wait, I got
probably
did. Okay.
You realized Andrea was going to beat you. So
I'm glad it's not just me. I'm like moving my extra pieces like out of where the camera can see them.
Like a little kid moving their broccoli around the plate. I ate it, I swear.
I had so many extra pieces left on my last build. Well, so I started it. I didn't finish it during the Max Murrow stream, and then I finished it last week. But there were so many extra pieces left over, and I was done with like that bag supposed to be, and I was freaking out. I'm like, something's not right here. And I think what they ended up doing is just screwing up the bag orders or something, because all the pieces ended up getting used. It was just like sort of out of order. It was weird. This goes here. I gotta do his nose. He wasn't quite finished yet. So we got his nose. Cool. And now, oh, more nose. A lot of nose stuff here. A lot of nose. Where does this go? What's this? Like this.
Well, this is kind of fun doing all these trees, but I have to admit I have a little bit of anxiety about it because this, pardon me for being a little bit, I don't know, obsessive about things, but so I do bonsai, I collect bonsai trees, and there's a very specific method to bonsai pruning and like how you're supposed to do it, and these trees aren't it. they're wrong. These trees they have bad form, and it's killing me.
You know, there's a bonsai set, right?
Yeah.
There is a bonsai set, yeah.
Yeah, I did see that. It was just too. It was too small. I didn't. I wanted to overachieve, not.
So how often do you play with Legos in your spare time?
This is the first time I have played with Legos in probably 30 some years.
Really? Did you play with them as a kid?
I did.
What was your favorite set as a kid?
Well, I don't even remember really having sets. I just remember having a big old tub of like mixed Legos, and you would make whatever. I honestly don't remember ever having like a specific Lego set. Maybe my brother did, and I just played with his leftovers or something. I don't know.
It's probably the right way to do it. Just play with it. There we go. It's done.
Oh, check that thing out.
That's cool.
Nice.
I like that a lot.
That's
super good size too. I mean, the hand, it's as big as my hand. It's a good.
So how are you going to Star Wars it?
So, well, first of all, this nameplate's got to go. This one right here. This is going to be Mandalorian. So Mandalorian has a certain insignia that I feel like this could be made into really easily. So I'm going to make, instead of this a footprint, I'm going to make it a Mandalorian insignia. And then I'm going to take this nameplate off. And I think that's what's going to do it. It's going to make it Star Wars-y for me. Yeah.
Nice.
So that might be on the next Lego stream. I'm going to figure out how I'm doing that. I'll get all the pieces together and I'll make that happen.
Yeah, just spray paint it.
Just spray paint it? Yeah, that's what we do. What was Andrea's favorite toy as a kid?
Oh, I really like the Lincoln Logs. I always really liked the Lincoln Logs, and I like the Matchbox cars.
How did you not end up an engineer?
I don't know. Honestly, I really don't. Like I could have definitely gone down a very different road than I did. I think honestly, I just was kind of a little bit into the girl thing of like I don't like math and science, even though I did, but I don't know. I didn't pursue that. I was a philosophy student, and
math and science doesn't go with the way
that tends to limit your options. Philosophy,
underwater basket weaving.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a joke.
MLS. I want to see you and Andrea argue or agree over my super chat on Valhalla's. What was your super chat?
What was the super chat?
Let's see here. Gotta find it. Did Andrea follow the Scott Peterson case? If so, thoughts on the appeal? What's worse? Oh, wait, hang on. Is this it? Wickard, Filburn.
Wickard is worse. Wickard is like the worst.
I'm not
For those of us in the class that aren't sure about what either of them are.
I can't. I'm horrible with names. I can't remember the cases.
Wickard v. Filburn is the one that is the purely intrastate guy selling he's not even selling. He's growing his own wheat to feed his own stock on his own farm, but it's during the Depression, and so there's price controls on commodity crops. And he gets like arrested and charged for violating this for growing his own stuff. And so he challenged it under the Commerce Clause. He argued that it exceeded Congress's power under the Commerce Clause to regulate this entirely intrastate activity that he was engaged in. And the United States Supreme Court said, well, but no, because there is a whole market for wheat. And therefore, even though your own activity is entirely local, otherwise not the business of Congress at all, since Congress gets to regulate the entire market, your little personal wheat growing is going to fall under it.
Now, if we go back to the history of this, before the Constitution, we had the Articles of Confederation, which basically said that, hey, we're going to loosely associate ourselves for common defense and things like that, but otherwise you states are free to govern yourselves however you want. And so states like Maryland and New York and things like that would charge each other tariffs if people were shipping goods and between the states. If you made something in Maryland and sent it to New York, or you made it in New Jersey and sent it to New York would charge you tariffs. and that was causing a problem. And amongst other reasons why we had the Constitutional Convention. But the reason why in the Constitution it says that Congress can regulate interstate commerce is because they wanted the federal government to basically say you can't charge tariffs for shipping goods between states, and you can't charge like tolls if you're using navigable waterways that go within your state's jurisdiction and borders and things like that. That's why we have the interstate commerce. And then to bastardize it to this extent is so frustrating, because that wasn't its fucking purpose. Its purpose was so that the states will get along and stop charging each other for using their own territories. That was the reason.
Yeah.
As a humble goat farmer from Tennessee, that does sound an awful lot like "stay the fuck off my land," government, because that doesn't jive right around here.
Yeah. And then to say like, okay, so then we have interstate commerce clause, and then the federal government was like, well, if you have goods that you're shipping across state lines, we can regulate it under the interstate commerce clause, it's dormant commerce clause, whatever. And then, so like if I make something in Michigan and want to ship it to Ohio, the federal government can say, well, if you want to do that, if you want to take it across state lines to sell it in Ohio, it has to meet these certain standards, CAFE standards, if you will. That, again, kind of sort of makes sense to some degree, although I still think it's bastardizing the Commerce Clause. But then they went a step further and they said that if you are making something yourself, like I'm building a boat, because I'm building a boat and therefore I'm not buying a boat, that would be part of interstate commerce. The federal government can regulate how I build my boat. That's BS, and that's what Wickard says.
And so it's basically just become anything you do. Anything you do connects commerce with interstate commerce in some way. Therefore, theoretically, anything you do, there is really a federal hook under this type of rationale, which is not how it's supposed to be.
No. Yeah, and I know our current Supreme Court would be in a very good position to overturn it. Do we know if there's any cases coming up?
Yeah, I don't know.
What is Smith, Maryland? See, I know the case. I don't remember the names, but I don't know Smith, Maryland case.
Is Smith, Maryland a substantive due process case? I don't remember. Yeah, I would have to look that one up too.
Out of thin air case.
It's not out of thin air. It's out of penumbras and emanations.
Are you both done?
The installation and use of a pen register
done.
by the police to obtain information.
Check it out.
On a suspect's
it's like
telephone
super
call.
cool.
Was not a search.
Shit. Sorry, wrong button.
There's Himeji Castle.
That thing's
this was basically
Isn't that
jailbreaking
awesome?
a phone.
Sure is.
This was jailbreaking a phone, and the court said that it was not a search. A search warrant wasn't required. In a majority opinion, Justice Blackmun rejected the idea that the installation and the use of a PIN register constituted a violation of the suspect's reasonable expectation of privacy, since the telephone number would be available to and recorded by the phone company anyway. This was
Is that one of the ones that's been overturned? Has that been overturned since then? There has been. It is all the Fourth Amendment. Okay, so the Fourth Amendment case law on third party, like evidence that is in the possession of third parties, it is freaking all over the place. Like sometimes they'll say it's in third party possession, so it's fine. Sometimes they'll say you have a reasonable expectation of privacy in it anyway, so you never have any idea if like the motel registry is going to be okay, or the cell phone search, whatever is going to be okay. I live in a state where we have an independent constitutional search and seizure jurisprudence, and I've never been more grateful for that than when I have to go down some of these Fourth Amendment rabbit holes for some of these cases, because it's just, some of it is extremely absurd.
So it hasn't been overturned. In fact, Congress passed a statute which supersedes it, but basically reaffirms it. So Smith needs...
Oh, okay, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. Because they didn't want the challenge.
Yeah, and in 2007 there was so in '99 they passed a statute, but in 2007 They started really challenging it and distinguishing it and limiting it. But those are only at the appellate courts. It's not a U.S. Supreme Court case. So there might actually be a split decision here. So it might be right to go up to the Supreme Court now. But yeah, so that's where we are in that one. But no, I don't like any of that stuff. I don't like the federal government in particular can get off my land to the fullest extent possible. The state government, less so. But I'd rather have more state involvement than the feds. Oh, I was going to show you. I came across this earlier today, and I had to record it and then put it in a tweet, and I absolutely love it. And I just want to share it with you. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about now, except I think it's awesome. This has got to be from like 1970 something.
We've heard a lot about extremism recently, a nastier, harsher atmosphere everywhere, more abuse and bother boy behavior, less friendliness and tolerance and respect for opponents. All right, but what we never hear about extremism is its advantages. Well, the biggest advantage of extremism is that it makes you feel good because it provides you with enemies. Let me explain. The great thing about having enemies is that you can pretend that all the badness in the whole world is in your enemies and all the goodness in the whole world is in you. Attractive, isn't it? So, if you have a lot of anger and resentment in you anyway, and you therefore enjoy abusing people, then you can pretend that you're only doing it because these enemies of yours are such very bad persons. And that if it wasn't for them, you'd actually be good-natured and courteous and rational all the time. So, if you want to feel good, become an extremist. Okay.
So that's so. He goes on and talks about like political parties and stuff, but I just love that about extremists.
That's classic John Cleese right there. I love it. He's
so great. And then he goes on. He's like, so if you want to be on the far left, here are all the people that you can hate, and if you want to be on the far right, here are all the other people you can hate. It's absolutely brilliant. Nice. I don't know where it came from. It popped up on one of my feeds, and I was like, I'm recording that and sharing that. That is absolutely perfect.
It's ironic how little things change. I mean, that was obviously, like you said, 70s probably.
Yeah, easily the 70s. Yeah. Oh, it was funny too. Is he was like, if you're on the far left, you hate all these people and moderates, and if you're on the far right, you hate all these people and moderates.
And... Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it was great. So, wow, this was actually. You know, I was concerned that this was going to be one of our longest streams, and with your build, but it ended up being one of our shortest streams.
I came in so prepared. I only left 6 bags for you guys, so
nice. That thing is awesome.
I'm happy with this. That was super cool.
Did you finish all the trees? Oh yeah, okay.
I did. I finished all the trees. They even give you little extra trees because these cherry trees. They're seasonal, right? So you can take them out and you can.
But it's not cherry blossom season. That's the spring. So you got to change them out.
It's not cherry blossom. That's right. So
nice. What do you got coming up? Do you have any streams coming up?
Do I have any streams coming up? I'm gonna do something soon about the new Kohberger motion. Okay. And that's the only thing I really specifically have on the horizon. There's not like a trial coming up that's grabbed me that I plan to pay attention to. But honestly, I'm terrible at like the business side of this because I don't really know what I'm going to do when I find something. It will call to me and then I will stream it, and hopefully people will find it and come.
Did they ever, speaking of Brian's case, did they ever do anything to fix the timeline? When that first came out, I went through his indictment and I said, and I looked at it and I said, so they're giving him about a 14-minute window to get about a half a mile down the road, dodge the Uber Eats driver, get in, stabby everyone, wink and nod at the one surviving roommate, which knows more than she's telling, and then leave, get down the road, like another 3/4 of a mile down the road in 14 minutes. The
timeline's a mess.
Yeah.
The timeline is a mess. There's really no way around that. And that he's going by places where he was on camera at one point. He would have logically had to go by that same place if he was going to end up where law enforcement said he ended up, but yet he's not on the camera apparently, the second time. The whole thing is a mess.
There was so much hay, I remember too, when I was first covering it, about the police interaction with some teens in the park that was just like you could see the house in the background, or like that was at the same time. Maybe you could see him driving by. Has there been any other evidence other than what we found, I should say released to the public, other than what they had in the initial charging date? Anything else?
Not that we know. I mean, you can kind of go back through the press releases from the time. Those all of the MPD press releases got attached to this latest motion, the one to change venue, it's actually kind of interesting to go back and read that over and just remember, that is what they were saying in real time, because things would come up, they would get a tip, there would be a story going around, there'd be something, and they would have to debunk it. So they did go on record with certain things no, this person is not involved. No, we're not looking at the Uber driver, things like that. But other than that, no, that's part of what is so compelling about this case is because of the gag order. It's just an evidentiary black hole. We have no idea. And so all we get are these drips and drabs and these kind of characterizations that are mostly coming from the defense at this point, but the state doesn't really seem to be pushing back on them. Things like there's no connection with the victims. He's not in the places where they say he was on their cellular, analysis.
I remember seeing that. Yeah, a lot of the cellular data was all sort of...
Hold on. I thought Nancy Grace was in there and she figured the whole thing out already.
Nancy Grace had her desk up in front of the house and figured the whole thing out. Well, so I mean, one of the things that was fascinating to watch was when they were litigating some of those discovery requests, because the guy that the defense got for their cell site location information expert is this guy, Cy Ray. And Cy Ray is the cops expert, okay? He's never testified for the defense before, ever. He's the guy who trains the law enforcement officers on how to do cell site location analysis. And so he came in and testified at that hearing. And of course, he's limited in what he can conclude because the whole point is that it's a discovery dispute. His information is incomplete. He needs stuff that the state and the feds is the big one. The feds have noped out of this case, which is such a big red flag. But they have this information they're not providing him. So obviously he can't have a complete picture of it. Nevertheless, he's saying, I reserve the right to change my opinion, but everything I've seen so far, it's exonerating. It's exonerating. The guy who trains the guy how to use the cell phone, the cell site information, is telling you it's not him. It's crazy.
So I have a few more questions here. What is the serial killer that most fascinates you? I guess y'all. I'm not fascinated by serial killers.
Go full circle, I'm going to go with Dahmer.
Okay.
Dahmer.
Back to the eating the shipmates thing. Full circle.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm not real fascinated with serial killers either, but I was probably 16 when I read Helter Skelter, so I would have to say Manson.
Okay. Well, Andrea, explain what Washington State has that avoids Fourth Amendment issues.
So we have our own constitutional privacy clause. It's Article 1, Section 7 of the Washington Constitution, and it says that no person shall be disturbed in his private affairs without due process of law, or without authorization, something like that. So it doesn't have the reasonableness component that the Fourth Amendment has. The Fourth Amendment is that no search shall issue except upon probable cause. in a warrant.
Right.
Again, I forget the exact language, but so basically there's this reasonableness component in the Fourth Amendment where some judge gets to sit back in his office and think about, well, is it fair for police to be able to look at this or not? And then that's, of course, colored by his outcome of whether he wants the police to be able to look at that particular thing or not. In our constitutional jurisprudence, it's far more focused on just, look, is this a private thing? And so if this is a private thing, then you don't get it. You have to get a warrant. That's your way to be able to get at it. And so because of that, we don't have, for example, like inevitable discovery. That's not an exception in Washington state. You don't get to hypothesize that, well, if you hadn't invaded somebody's privacy, it would still be okay. They're focused on, they did invade your privacy.
In Washington state, are DUI checkpoints lawful?
No. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they're not in Michigan either. Yeah.
They shouldn't be legal anywhere. I don't understand how they get by.
The U.S. Supreme Court has said that they're legal.
Yeah.
But
Michigan
Supreme
Fourth
Court
Amendment, they're legal.
The Fourth Amendment says that they're legal under the U.S. Supreme Court, but the Michigan Supreme Court and apparently the Washington Supreme Court has said no, that's going too far. They're illegal.
So just to clarify, the Fourth Amendment reads, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons, I need glasses, y'all, or things to be seized. How do you get legal DUI checkpoints out of that?
Reasonable. They think it's reasonable. That's it. That's the catch-all. That's all they needed. That is all the wiggle room that they needed. Any lawyer who wants to build in an exception to anything at all that they're putting in writing, just put reasonable in there, because lawyers can argue about that indefinitely.
I wrote I was on a committee to write some legislation a few years back, and that's what we did. When we wanted to be able to do something, you put in reasonable in there. And and it was like, oh, okay, well, that's a free bar. I would even so we had some judges that were opposed to our statute. And I'm like, but I put reasonable in there. It was a presumption. So what it was I was working on was a presumption that custody would be 50-50. Unless one party who wanted different than that, presumably more parenting time, could sustain an argument by clear and convincing evidence. And so judges were like, well, we don't like presumptions because that takes away our judicial discretion and blah, blah, blah. I was like, but I put in reasonable interpretation and blah, blah. I was like, reasonable. Everything was reasonable, right?
You tried.
I tried. Have you ever heard that BK cleaned his car with bleach?
Oh yeah.
Nancy Grace apparently says that.
Yeah, that's one of the stories that's out there. So, so what I can tell you from the court documents is that, according to the defense, the search of Brian's vehicle revealed no victim DNA and no explanation for its absence. And so I take that to mean they did not find evidence of the kind of cleaning that you would need to do to get rid of, what I would have to think are fairly large amounts of blood, or at least, extensive blood transfer in a car like that.
And see, if I'm the prosecutor, I'm thinking to myself, I can't prove this case. Officers, detectives, you need to go find the suspect or more evidence, or I'm going to have to dismiss this case. And if it wasn't a murder case that made national or international news, they would have, or you at least would have expected it. I mean, I've dealt with prosecutors long enough that on the small cases that aren't making headlines, I can get them dismissed if they can't prove their case.
Yeah.
But they're going to double down on this just because of
they have
case.
They have to double down on this case because they made that investigative decision early on. We are going to focus on this touch DNA. That has driven the train. That is why they are where we are. And so they are going to ride that trace DNA all the way through this trial.
Hey, Sean.
Saw him pop up in the chat. This case is frustrating and it's infuriating.
How do we get away from that? How do we get away from the driven prosecution instead of the justice.
Well, it's pseudo prosecution. It's pseudo judiciary. Remember I said pseudo, right? So the whole idea, the difference between pseudo and real work is that real work follows the evidence and reaches the conclusion. Pseudo, you start with the conclusion and you look for the evidence that supports it. This is all pseudo prosecution, pseudo judiciary. Pseudo, just throw pseudo in front of it and identify it for what it is, and pretty soon maybe someone will actually get the hint.
I think part of the problem is that it comes from the ground up. This is how the investigations happen. This is how the police do it. They look for a target and then they focus on the target and they focus on nailing the target. And that's just how policing is done. And so, like, from the very beginning, there is this kind of reverse engineering sort of process of, maybe they have the right guy. A lot of time they do have the right guy. But, did they get there because good, solid evidence got them there? Not necessarily. They got there because they had a hunch or because, they had a tip or something like that. And then they focused on that person and looked for things that would help them corroborate it. And so it's just, we live in an era where it's kind of hard to imagine if the cops got your phone and got into your phone, like, how could they misconstrue some of the things that they would find in your telephone if they wanted to? And you just don't necessarily have any idea. Well, maybe Val, maybe you have some idea, but no.
Yeah, well,
a lot of us.
That's the thing, though, is that like even the we always joke about it. I've joked about it since Zachariah Anderson. If your phone's off, you're either being murdered or murdering, right? That's how the state takes it.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely crazy.
Island Girl
crazy.
said judges need to do their job, and I wanted to talk about this anecdote. I was in a district court, and in Michigan, district court judges usually issue like search warrants and things like that. It's not the higher judges. And so there was a few police officers that were chit-chatting about waiting for the judge to come out so they can get some warrants signed. And they were in one particular judge's courtroom, and they were talking about another judge. And I don't have a lot of respect for the courtroom that I was in, but I have a lot of respect for the other judge. And they were bitching about the other judge because he is apparently a pain in the ass when it comes to search warrants. Like, you actually have to do your work, and he will reject them. And the cops are
what a terrible
unheard of. Yeah. So the cops hate him, and the cops won't endorse him for re-election, and the cops will come out for his opponent, and that's why judges act the way that they do.
Yep. And that's why they were in front of this judge who they love, who will just rubber stamp their search warrants. And that's the problem, because there's not enough judges willing to stand up.
Thank you, Sinbad. Thanks, Val, David, and Andrea. Great stream. Appreciate you.
Yeah, this has been super fun.
I'm glad you had fun. That makes me happy.
Yeah, it was a great excuse to, revisit childhood. Who doesn't love that?
I have so many Legos now.
This isn't all of them, but I had to buy shelves and build. Well, I didn't buy one.
Wow.
My in-laws did. But that's just,
that's amazing.
They're in the front room. They're on the table back there. They're everywhere.
That's so cool. I meant to ask you. Yes, I was going to ask you about your tank.
Yes, you were. So this is all right. So I promised my wife a long time ago that I would get her a turtle. And it took almost 10 years for her to get her stupid turtles. But finally she got her turtles. Okay. And she got, they're from Australia. They're
Australian turtles?
Yeah.
Nice.
By the way, Patty, thank you very much for the Cash App. Much appreciated. Since I'm not monetized, you can Cash App me if you want. But only if you want to. I hate grifting, but people know it's out there.
I don't like the grift either. It's my channel. There's a subscribe button. I'm not going to tell you, just do whatever you're going to do.
I feel all dirty inside. Yeah. I have Patreon, really to support the Zachariah Anderson documentary that I'm doing. And so I put clips and stuff out there, but I don't advertise it much. I leave the mods to do that. But I can't get monetized, so people can't super chat on here, and sometimes people find it frustrating.
Yeah,
I'm not monetized on any of my channels right now, actually. But
that's annoying.
This is my part-time job, or not part-time. This is my part-time hobby, so I'm fine with it.
The turtles are getting bigger and faster, and that's starting to become a little more difficult to catch.
Huh.
But here's a.
Oh my goodness!
Well, hang on.
They
Let me
are
get your full
big.
screen.
They're getting there. This is a pink-bellied side neck turtle. They're from Australia and Papua New Guinea. They're from the southern hemisphere, and in the southern hemisphere, turtles don't retract their heads; they tuck them underneath their shell sideways.
Huh. Wow.
Which is really cool. They can't put their
That
head
is
inside
cool.
of the carapace. So she got her turtles, and this is them.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
you know,
Can we just agree that everything from Australia is weird?
Yeah. They've got like millions or hundreds of thousands of years of completely isolated evolutionary pathways. It's amazing what comes out of Australia.
It is amazing.
I mean, you have,
and that's how you know it's a boy.
Don't platypus come out of
What, the
Australia
foot?
too?
That's not a foot. That's not a foot.
Oh, okay.
If you stick around Valhalla long enough, you'll see all kinds of animal peen.
Okay. Okay. I
Just
can handle
with,
it.
Living on a farm, yeah. Oh, what's the turtle's name, Valhalla?
I don't know. You'd have to ask.
Yeah. Oh, okay. You never.
Have either of
named
you guys
farm
been to Australia?
No.
I've
don't
never
know if
been.
you
I would
know
love
this.
to go.
I don't know if you know
You
this
should
about
hook
me,
up with
Andrea.
Excited Utterance. She's actually Australian.
Yeah.
She is Australian. I left the country a couple times in my life, and I don't ever want to do it again.
Really? Where'd you go?
Iraq, mostly.
Yeah. Okay. I understand.
Also, not a big fan of the desert. Not a big fan.
Yeah. Well, you would hate it where I am. Our ecological nickname here is the channeled scablands because we get a good 6 inches of rain a year, and yeah. They did some training for Desert Storm over here in our area. So
That just sounds
I'm
horrible.
good. I'm good.
See, when I think of Washington, I just think of like rain and cities.
I know.
And stuff like
No,
that.
as soon as you get over the mountains, you're in a completely different world. You're in a completely different world. We are not like the Pacific Northwest at all.
Oh yeah,
you're in
Andrea,
Eastern
you should
Washington.
ask Valhalla about his ducks.
Oh, your ducks? What kind of ducks?
I have Muscovy ducks, and the reason that they're bringing it up is because I have a Muscovy duck peen video. Because Muscovy ducks have a
Duck peens are
corkscrew.
wild. Duck peens are wild. I know
Yes.
about duck peens. Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah,
Thank God I don't have to explain the whole thing.
No, you don't have to explain it. The college that I went to, we had a beautiful campus with lots of ponds and all kinds of ducks, and so we experienced duck rape season every year, and we got to know everything you did not want to know about duck peens and duck rape.
Oh yes, it's
Since you're not monetized, I'll say that.
Well, Valhalla is.
I was anyway. If Andrea Burkhart's the reason that my channel gets taken down, I'll take it. I've done it way worse.
Yeah, no, it was wild. It was, for people like the kids that are coming over from the city that don't have that rural experience, it was a real eye opener to this is the way of the world.
Birds aren't gentle, y'all. It's not a
No.
gentle process.
No,
no animal is gentle, not even humans. But I mean, you see any of it, it's especially like horses. Oh my God. Yeah,
birds, I think, are especially weird because it's like you see what it's like to live without a frontal brain. Like if you don't have the ability to tell yourself stories to comfort yourself or like convince yourself for why this is a good idea or like this person is your friend, like all those stories that we cook up with this fascinating, this big frontal lobe, they just live in this pure emotional limbic state. It's crazy. They're such little dinosaurs.
That's one of my favorite animals on the property is my snake. I have a ball python, and it's not like she's not like big or giant or whatever. But snakes have always fascinated me. They've developed this evolutionary path without limbs, and it's just one giant tube of muscle with a mouth on the end. It's amazing to me that they've been successful as long as they have in evolution.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
It is.
Young birds aren't real, so I don't know.
Well, I just got into the birds because I got chickens this year, so this is my first year having the chickens. They aren't laying yet, but
chickens are a good place to start.
Yeah, it's been a whole experience. They aren't a very smart bird. Like I had a cousin and an aunt and stuff that had parrots and things like that, like crazy smart birds, but like to a level that's a little freaky because they're still super neurotic. I kind of like the chickens. They're very simple that way.
8 chickens. This spring I started with 6, and now I'm down to 2. But the 2 are the smart ones. They're the ones that survive. But they're a lot of fun, and I love having the fresh eggs.
I have Muscovy ducks. I have I don't know how many chickens. Something like 8 chickens left.
Are you on Discord, Andrea?
I am. Yeah.
Okay. I'll send you a link if you want to join.
Awesome, yeah. I'm never on, but yes, I'm there.
I
have so the chickens. No, normally I stream from a treehouse.
That's true.
The chicken coop and the chicken run is below me. Nice. Streams get long sometimes.
That's what the chicken said.
Yeah, exactly.
I also have a pigeon coop. I have a flock of pigeons.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
I don't fly them yet, but I want
Mike Tyson was into pigeons.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
He could teach me a thing or two.
MLS, can you see if Andrea knows how bleach is detected forensically since it breaks down? Do you know?
It leaves residue. So there's a couple ways that they'll look for it. One is it will leave residue. Like if you do like a big, dump bleach over something and try to wipe it up. So they can test for that. The other thing that they do though, they'll just literally look for white marks. Like they can find, unless you get the thing like completely pristine, practically like sand it down, sandblast it, repaint it, like whatever. They're going to be able to find marks like from where you've smeared the dirt around or whatever. So they're usually going to find something. And with a car, the thing is with something like Brian's car, if you're going to really try to get all of the blood out of a car, the problem is that the blood will seep, right? So you have, let's say you've got a bunch of blood on your shoe, you step on your carpet, it's going to seep through that carpet, it's going to seep under the carpet, it's going to get into like the metal,
the bolts, the rivets.
Like the sheet metal, the bolts, like where the connections are and things like that. So you're getting into a point where you're going to need to be like tearing up the carpet, taking out the dash, way beyond just like a pull out the seats and do a detail kind of situation. And so there would be evidence of that, that type of deep cleaning.
Yeah, I feel like they'd be able to tell.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. And also luminol supposedly will interact with bleach as well. So if there's any of that residue and stuff like that, it'll show up like if it was blood. Or at least that was the credible witness that was called for the defense in the Zachariah Anderson case testified to that. And she had said that there was no evidence of bleach in that car either. Yet they pulled out a jug of bleach and some Clorox wipes that he bought in the middle of COVID. Things like that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was so bad. He went shopping he searched what time Walmart opens. And it's like, it was like June of 2020.
No.
And then he bought rubber gloves and Clorox wipes. And it's like, it was June of 2020.
This was like when you were getting your groceries delivered at home and you would still stand out in the driveway and like spray bleach everything before you brought it in your house.
Yes.
I didn't do that, but some of y'all did. The prosecutor in that case, Michael Gravely, is one of the most giant pieces of turds I've ever seen in my entire life. And Get Wrecked Gravely, oh, I hate that guy so much.
Yeah, but he's learning. He's learning. During that trial, after 35 years of experience and being the chief elected prosecutor for like 10 years, he learned what an argumentative question was.
Oh, God.
What hearsay was. You know, he's learning. He's learning. Oh, he's also a law professor, too, so let's not forget that.
I can't stand him.
Oh, wow.
Get Wrecked Gravely.
Yeah. So we had, so Solomon Anderson, Zach's brother, and I did this stream a couple months ago where we would stream the trial live, like restream it without commentary, and then at the end of the day we would do like a quick breakdown video. And we always had a segment of Gravely, The More You Know, would come up, and so I'd play a short clip, and then it would be The More You Know, because he was learning every day. He would learn something new about the law he never knew before.
Oh, wow.
How to leading questions, and you know, what if anything, I know they teach that in law school, that it makes it a non-leading question, but it really doesn't, you know, and it's like,
no,
you know. So it was a ridiculously horrible case. Gravely is awesome.
It really
yes,
was.
Get Wrecked
Everything
Gravely.
about it was terrible.
But
Get Wrecked Gravely.
Everyone, if you haven't subscribed to Andrea, I don't know why you haven't, but you guys need to.
Yeah, what are you guys doing? Make better life choices. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And then when she
and someday
streams,
I will put something out, I promise, and you won't regret it.
Well, thank you very much for being with us. This has been awesome.
Yeah, this has been a great time.
If you want to hang out for a bit after we end the stream. Oh, you know what? We got to set up redirect. Who's streaming?
Ooh, who is streaming?
Oh, you know what? I can't redirect yet because I don't have enough subs.
I can't.
Everyone needs a sub to me.
You still not have... Really?
No, I still don't have redirect. I don't know why. YouTube's being weird. It won't give me redirect.
How many subs do you have on the channel?
I don't even know. I don't. What
was
do I
MG
have?
streaming? Oh, MG streaming. We're all going to MG Law, y'all.
All right. If you guys go to the top of my chat, you can jump over to Valhalla stream, and then you guys will be redirected over to MG stream. You guys can go check out MG.
Give me just a second. I got to set it up because, you know.
Come on, man.
I'm terribly slow.
It's sub for everyone. Yeah, subs for everyone. Subs for me. Subs for Andrea. Valhalla. Yeah. Well, I have 424. Okay, so I only need 76 more, and then I can redirect. 76 more, and I can redirect.
76? Oh,
I have to have 500. I have to have 500 to redirect.
Wow.
But this channel started from nowhere. I just like created it brand new. It had no anything, and I used to dual screen with my other channel and try to get people over here, but I don't. So unless you know about this channel, you're not really seeing it pop up in your feed. So tell your friends to subscribe because this is awesome content over here.
Well, we
that's
at least
the
have
bad
fun.
thing with restarting the channels.
All right, I'm all set up for redirect. Holly Moore, 2-month membership, free Zachariah Anderson. Yes, ma'am. I'm all for it.
Definitely. And yeah, reach out to Natalie and she'll give you all the
for sure. I had no idea. That's crazy that she's handling it. I had no idea. I will get her brief. Like
that's why she fell off. She was streaming with us, like Dave was saying earlier. She was streaming with us and then she couldn't anymore. It was like, oh well,
no, makes perfect sense.
I'm okay with that actually.
So
yeah.
All right. Thank you all very much, chat. Go have fun over at MG's. Thanks for hanging out with us. And we'll see you guys in about 3 weeks. I think we'll be back on for another Lego stream. All
Something
right,
like
take care.
that. Love you, chat.
Bye.
I'm gonna buy Legos again because like this was so fun.
No one told me this was a race.
It's not a race.
No. Oh yeah. Now, yeah.
You were really intently looking at it.
I dropped the piece and I can't find it.
It got interesting. Being interviewed and trying to do Lego at the same time, harder than it seems.
Having the problem with this one here.
But I hadn't built Lego since I was a youngin', and I don't know exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah. Okay. No big deal.
Great.
kiss on. In the beginning, it was kind of like as we all were thinking, how should we act and stuff like that. Now we have all kinds of be around.
I'm actually enjoying a little bit of wine while we do this because it felt inappropriate to not have libations.
I had a great freaking time. I chose a Lego set that was like, don't do the flowers, guys. Don't do the flowers.
Obviously, I'm the problem because I keep making the same bad decisions.
Hey, look, I got sex toys. Look, the dildo. Yeah.
Whoa, this is not that type of stream.